All right. What? It's going. It's going. So if I'm over here, I'm completely gone? Nah, damn it. TV. I am having... How we sounded, everybody. Welcome into the welcome into the Rant. I'm Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday, noon-ish. Used to be called the High Noon Rant, but everybody started going, oh, is that like a stoner show? And I'm like, no, it's not, okay? It's just a rant around noon of some dude, me, yours truly, talking about current events. That's what it is. Hi, Al. No sound. No fucking sound? You got no sound. Really? Okay. Al says there's sound now. Okay. See, it's the delay. The delay is what drives me nuts because I react in the moment to what people post in the chat. Like when Al says, there's no sound. I see that and I go, what do you mean there's no sound? And then I have to go, oh, wait, he's 25 seconds behind me, which is so confusing. What's going on with the TV? Can't even see the whole TV. We had a complete tear down and rebuild of the way we do this show every day since the bullshit of yesterday. Sorry about yesterday. Don't know what happened yesterday. We had people working on it all day long. Why am I not? So if I'm comfortable over here, all right, so I got to move the camera. Sorry. The camera's got to move. Can't be doing it. What? What? Get it on me. Producers are overrated. No, they're not. That's still not good. That's still not good. Why can't I just get the goddamn camera on me? That's all I want. Can you tell I'm frustrated? I'm very frustrated lately, guys. I don't know what's going on. All right, we're going to do it like that. That's about as good as we can. Yesterday was very traumatic. Yesterday we tried... Why is it so close now? Hold on. Sorry. Just consider this a behind the scenes look. All right, this is gonna go like... Sorry, I just need to make the camera a little bit further back. Camera's gonna go like here. That'll have to do. Oh. Maybe that'll be better. Maybe. Although now I can't adjust it because it's too far away. This is what you guys tune into every day. This is what you're going to miss when it's gone. All right, maybe that'll work. I don't care. I don't care about the TV in the background. It's not that big of a deal. What I care about is you and getting this rant started on all the day's news. I need a drink. Yesterday was very traumatic, as I pointed out. Now this isn't plugged in. God damn it! Nothing is plugged in. All right, here we go again. Sorry, folks. Apologize. Nothing's plugged in. Nothing works if it's not plugged in. Isn't this fun? Nah, trust me. I know. It's not fun. Thank God we don't have any new viewers. Thank God it's just my old dependable friends who I don't care how unprofessional this looks. By the way, speaking of professionalism, the events of yesterday that caused us to not do a show during the most important show. It was most certainly the most important show of the week. It was the end of our pledge week. Couldn't do a show. The show failed again. We failed. We failed miserably. Some point I'm going to have to wake up and go, we can't do this every day. Hold on, let me fix that. Yeah, I have pants on, Leslie. I do. I wear pants every day. I wear shorts. Sometimes, they don't match the shirt. Why is it so dark? Fuck. I'm obsessing. Somebody's got to. Yeah. Let's see if that. And now I'm out of the camera again. Son of a bitch. There we go. All right, we're going to calm down. And I got stories to tell. Peter says, time to smoke some weed. No. You know, I did the pot once while live on the air or while on the air. And we were live on the air. We were live on the air. It was a show that my former partner and I did 20-something years ago. Yeah, we were smoking weed on the air and talking about it 20 years ago. Rebels. It was about 20 years ago. And it was the show, those of you who remember the early days of the Pugs and Kelly show, especially the overnight days, you might remember the show that we were definitely not smoking weed during. It was actually, there's no tape of it. I heard some of it like months after we did it back in like 2000 or whatever. And it was just, there was a lot of coughing and a lot of really weird rambling between me and Kelly, but Kelly's not a big weed smoker. So she was interesting. But here's the thing, Peter, I can't do it. I can't do this while stoned. I mean, if you think I chase rabbits during this stream of consciousness rant that I do every day, imagine if I was high. Imagine where it would drive me nuts. It would drive me nuts because you know that I hate watch every episode after I do it. It would drive me nuts. It would drive me absolutely nuts. How is CeeLo? CeeLo is, of course, the dog. The dog had fleas over the weekend. It was very difficult for her. Difficult for me, too, because I had to do a whole bunch of shit. Spend a whole lot of money. I mean, I didn't. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's... Do you know how much 2 flea collars cost? I mean, do you know what 2 flea collars cost? Went to the PetSmart, bought 2 flea collars. $40. You get 2. They last a year, they say. Do you know what flea spray costs? $28. $28 for a little. Do you know what a flea bath cost? $100. Dogs are expensive, man. And then, of course, she got some treats. We went to the butcher. We got her some big, like, cow knuckle bones that she gets. So she's been working on those. Fleas are rough. I have the hiccups. Now. I promise you. And once we get rolling, this is going to be a good show. I'm just not ready yet. What's going on in the news? Who's that girl in the middle? I like her. I don't know who she is. Is she new CNN? She's got a good look. Hiccups. God damn it. The dog is laying on the floor. Is laying on the floor, and whenever I scream on this show performatively, the dog always thinks I'm yelling at her, and that makes me feel a little bad, but we'll survive. Peter says Seresto collars works well. Don't know what the fuck a Seresto collar is, but the person at the store, they suggested the Adams brand for my particular dog. Smee says we spend about $500 every few months for Simparico Trio for our 3 a-holes. It's fleas, ticks, and heartworm prevention. Yeah, we love our stupid little hair-covered animals that we allow in our home. Isn't it weird how that happened with dogs? We don't allow any other animals in our home. Cats, domesticated cats. And any other animal that we allow in our home, because we do, I guess we do now that I think about it. They're all contained. You know, they're all kept in a terrarium or whatever. Well, I got a friend who's got a snake. Yeah, but it doesn't just like slither from room to room freely. Yeah, it does. Well, your friend's an idiot. That your friend's a weirdo, okay? That can be said for anybody who has snakes. Snakes are a weird pet to have. I dated a girl once who had a snake. That didn't last. You have a snake? Yeah, you want to touch him? No. Why? Because he's a snake. He's the biblical embodiment of everything that's evil in this world. No, I do not want to play with your snake. Dogs, though, they're just like little, they're like wolves. We just let wolves in our house. We just let them roam around. You know why? Because they understand the rules. Dogs, pretty much, domesticated dogs understand the rules. Do you know how dogs came to be domesticated? This is interesting. I always wondered about this because they go back to like caveman times, or I don't know, caveman. You know, there were different stages of cavemen. There were like cavemen, and then there were like cavemen that were kind of like us, and they roamed Europe or whatever. But here's what happened. The cavemen would go hunting, and they'd sit around their fire, and they'd eat. And the wolves would be drawn to the fire and the smoke and the smells and all that stuff, and they'd hide. They'd hide just far enough away so that they couldn't be seen. And their hope was table scraps. And over the course of generations, some caveman, I don't know who this dude is, but we all owe him a debt of gratitude because he was the first caveman who actually threw some food to the dog. And the wolf came up and ate, and then all of a sudden we got dogs. That's how dogs started. Because cavemen would eat around the fire, and they'd come in, and cavemen just got used to having these things around. They're like, yeah, they're not mean anymore. They used to be mean. They used to be wolves. We used to be worried about them. But now they're around here because they know that we have meat. We will do the hunting for them. That's why we have dogs. God bless that caveman. Don't know who he was, but we should all thank him. Okay, so we had a problem yesterday with the show. After hours and hours and hours, literally the entire show yesterday, we weren't streaming, but I'm behind the scenes with Restream, with Ed, by the way, Ed, who runs Radio Misfits, one of my oldest and dearest friends. Like the last thing that he wanted yesterday, he's a businessman. He's got a lot of stuff going on in his world. The last thing he wanted to do yesterday was dedicate 2 hours to helping us out on this stupid little money losing, it's nothing but a pain in the ass for him. And yet, man, he's dedicated to this. He helps out every time, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. And you people ought to appreciate that as well. Now, there are some things that come with Ed. Ed is a mercurial sort. I mean, I can say this because I love him. Sometimes Ed gets frustrated with stupid people. Like if you're stupid, specifically computer stupid, like I'm computer stupid. Sometimes he gets frustrated. And his temper gets a little short, and he'll yell. But, it's been 25 years now of me doing this with Ed, so I can get used to it. And I think he understands he's free to yell at me, that I don't take it personally. But I will discuss it. I will bring it up. Ed's yelling at me again. I did something wrong. He's mad. I don't know what a flangent flug is. And Ed's mad. He knows. He's smart like that. So thank you to Ed. Thank you to Ed. Thank you to the people at Restream. It was on their end. It was their shit. Whatever it was that they were doing to this show yesterday, they were screwing it up. Yeah, there you go. Frank Smith appreciates Ed. Everybody should appreciate Ed. And you can do that by checking out the Radio Misfits and all the shows that he produces. My God, there's something for everybody. Can I just tell you, there's a magnificent weed show. If you like soccer, if you like Premier League soccer, there's some really funny, cool guys that do that. There's a wine show that's apparently good. I don't like wine, so I don't listen to it. But let me tell you about Nick DiGilio's Saturday Night Live show. His Saturday Night Live podcast is tremendous. Now, you people are wondering, why should I be interested in a Nick DiGilio? Because Nick DiGilio isn't just some guy. Nick DiGilio is a broadcaster of a legendary Chicago broadcaster. And now he does a podcast, Saturday Night Live, like a history of it. I don't know what it's called. What do they call it? Cut for Time? Is that what it's called? I don't know. Whatever it is. It's excellent. It is excellent. All of those on the RadioMisfits.com podcast. You can listen to them. Check them out. Check out the whole series on the Saturday Night Live thing. It's very interesting if you like that kind of thing. What are you doing? You're driving around listening to sports radio? What are they talking? Hockey? You don't want that. Go to Radio Misfits. Check out Nick DiGilio's Saturday Night Live thing. I love it. It's very good. Okay, so we are back today with a normal show. There you go, Shmi. Everybody shout out Ed. Seriously, we do you have no idea how much I rely on him, on Ed, on my mom. I mean, my God, the people in my life that help me keep this sinking ship afloat. One person in particular needs to be shouted out today because we do have an executive producer. The executive producer of the show is always the person who tips the most on the previous day's show. Well, we haven't done a show in a while, but This person certainly is today's executive producer. Thank you so much to April. April dropped a bomb. She dropped a bomb. We didn't have any bombs this month. God, she dropped a bomb. So thank you so much. Look, this pledge drive this month was really bad because of just, I didn't start it early enough. 4th of July, everybody's on vacation. So we suffered. We suffered bad for the 3rd month in a row. Old boy got to borrow money, and that ain't good, and that can't continue. So thank you to April. Thank you to April for helping us out. We are still really low. We are still really low. We still need a minimum of $100 by the end of today. And that doesn't it's not what we need. It's not what we need, but it's like, God damn, I can get gas. So anyway, that's what we're trying to do today. We're trying to raise that money. So if you're compelled, you want to see the show continue, please help us out. By the way, did anybody check out the little test stream that we did? Me and James Parker 93.3 FM WBAP comes on at 2:00. Check out James Parker. I do a hit with him every week. The Entertainment Report, I do that on Wednesdays around 4:30 or so. James Parker and we did a little stream from the new world famous E-Gallery Studios in Dallas's beautiful design district. Dragon Street Live is what we called it last night. Actually, I don't know what we called it last night, but it was fun. And it wasn't a real show. You understand that. It wasn't a real show. So if you're checking it out and you're like, oh, this is what they do. No, it wasn't a real show. It was just checking the equipment. We still got to get lighting in there. We still got some things that we need to do in there. But the sound, if you listen to it last night, and by the way, you can find it there at Pugs and Company on YouTube. That's last night's Pugs and Parker show. How did it sound? And I don't mean the content. The content doesn't matter. We weren't prepared for anything. We were just freeballing it with conversation. The quality, because we have some concerns over there about echoes and all of that. So I thought it sounded okay. I listened back to it. on my dog walk last night when I got home. I thought it sounded okay. I blew James's mind again. And he asked me, he was trying to trip me up. Look, I know a lot of trivia. I don't know a lot of smart people stuff, but I know a lot of dumb people stuff. And one of the dumb people things that he asked me yesterday, he goes, all right, here's a question. Fun fact. You know who wrote Boy Named Sue? And I said, Shel Silverstein. And he was like, what? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you're right. How'd you know that? I go, because I'm not an idiot. Because I know who Shel. And then he dug his grave even further. James goes, what? Just because you know some obscure poet? I'm like, James, he's not that obscure. You apparently do poets, because he's not that obscure. He's not a poet. He's a short story writer. Anyway. So that was fun. So if you want to check that out, you can hear that. Me and Parker right again. What else do we have to do here? No show tomorrow. That's why today is so important. If we can raise any money, we need to do it today, because tomorrow's a dead day. There is no show tomorrow. I might make it up. I think I'm going to do a show tomorrow afternoon. So at some point, later in the day, or maybe even in the evening, maybe with James, maybe we'll go back to the Dragon Street studio. We'll do something tomorrow night, but I will do something tomorrow. It's just that the noon show will not air. I have something very special that I can't believe that I'm going to get to do tomorrow. It's going to be so much fun. I've been invited by the legendary Mike Reiner to be a guest on his podcast, which you should all be checking out, My Dark Companion. Find him on Facebook, YouTube. Just Google Mike Reiner, Dark Companion. You'll find it. I have to tell you something about this podcast that he does, because he just restarted it after Mike Reiner, of course, legendary Radio Hall of Famer, built the ticket, the most important, I believe, sports radio station. Important to my type of wants, but very incredibly important in the world of sports radio, what the ticket has been able to do. Mike Reiner. So tomorrow I'm going to sit with him. We're going to talk for a while. It's going to be fun. I have never sat and really chopped it up with the Gray Wolf. And I'm very excited, because he's one of my heroes. He's one of my heroes in this town. Hero is a bit overstating it, maybe. Somebody I really respect. Here's why I respect him. When Kelly and I were in Chicago doing our show before we moved to Dallas, we were told, we knew beforehand that we were coming to Dallas, right? It wasn't just, hey, tomorrow you're moving to Dallas. So we knew for a couple of weeks. And I remember Ron and Don didn't. Ron and Don had no idea. They were on they took vacation, and they went on one of them went on a bike trip. And we're like, yeah, you're going to move down when they go on their bike trip. Like, okay. All right. So you're firing these guys. Cool. But when it was first pitched to us, Dallas, I went, all right, what do I know about Dallas media? What do I know about Dallas radio? So for somebody who's in the business, a radio professional in Chicago, all I knew about Dallas media was this. I knew about Brad Sham, of course. Everybody knows about Brad Sham. He's national. I knew about Kid Craddock. Everybody knew about Kid Craddock because Kid Craddock was also, somebody who had won a bunch of awards and all that stuff. But I also knew about Mike Reiner. Mike Reiner was the one that, because I, at that point, had just come from working at a sports station called WMVP, which was AM 1000, WMVP. They're now ESPN 1000 in Chicago. They're now one of the big, sports stations in America. ESPN flagship stations type, deals. But I'd come from there. And when we were there, we were looking at the ticket in Dallas, this other station, and we were trying to do something very similar from the ticket. Not WMVP was not like what it would become ESPN. WMVP was an expansion of a shock talk station, The Loop, where I came from. And so WMVP had those ideas, taking them into sports. Didn't work for us at WMVP because ESPN came in and went, we're going to do boring national sports. None of this having fun. None of this taunting Packer fans, So they ruined it. They ruined WMVP and they turned it into ESPN. But I always at MVP looking at the ticket going, yep, that's what we need to be doing. More personality, more lifestyle driven sports talk. Sports is a lifestyle. Okay. It's not all of life. So I knew about Reiner. And when Kelly and I came to Dallas, we were told that the biggest star in Dallas was this guy named Russ Martin, who was going to be on our station. And we were both like, never heard of him. I was like, never who? Who's this guy? And he's not the biggest star in Dallas radio. I mean, the biggest star in Dallas radio is obviously someone people outside Dallas radio know. And that's Mike Reiner and Kid Craddock. That's the hard line and Kid Craddock. What are you talking about, Russ Martin? So we came in, we met Russ Martin. Russ Martin was an absolute a-hole. He was a jerk. He was a terrible, terrible human being, just a mean guy. And I hope, look, if you listen to me, if you listen to this show, I think you know that I strive to not be a mean guy. I have my flaws. I get mad and I yell, but I try to be a human being. Russ Martin wasn't that. So we were very, very depressed. And we were like, fuck, this is the guy that, we're supposed to emulate. This is the guy who, you do what Russ did and you'll be fine. We're like, we don't want to do that. We like what they're doing on the hard line, which was the competition to Russ Martin. Russ Martin came on after us. And he was a jerk. So we didn't promote him. We wouldn't say, coming up next, Russ Martin. What Kelly and I started doing, especially once we became untouchable there. Kelly and I started saying things like, can't wait to listen to the hard line on the ride home. Yeah, we used to do that. But in our first couple of months here in town, we were out to dinner. We were out to dinner with some advertisers. And we were at Three Forks. If you remember Three Forks, right off the tollway there, I think at Frankfurt. We were at I don't think Kelly was there, actually. I think this is Kelly. No, I think she was there. Anyway, it doesn't matter. My memory, I'm getting so old. Anyway, we're at Three Forks, and somebody sends us a bottle of wine. And the person comes over, and they bring the bottle of wine. They put it on the table. It's a very good bottle of wine, very expensive bottle of wine. And the person who brought it said, this is compliments of Mr. Kid Craddock. He wants to welcome you to town. And I just thought, oh, my God, this dude is on another station. He's the only guy, well, him and Reiner, the only two guys. So that was like, okay. So you don't have to be Russ Martin. You can be nice. You can be kind. You can be. Kid Craddock didn't worry about us. Kid Craddock was a monster. He all he was like, okay, these new guys, I bet they're overwhelmed. I should do something nice. And he did. And he thought to do that. And I just thought that went a long way. Cut to a couple of weeks later, Kelly and I decided on our ride home, we're going to stop by a hardline remote because the remote was on both our way home. So we stopped by the hardline remote. This was at some place in Addison, right off Beltline. And we walked in and we sat down, Kelly and I, and we just sat in the back of the room. We just sat in the back of the room and we watched as two people who do this show. We weren't like, hey, check us out, draw attention to us. It wasn't that at all. It was just, we like this show. Let's go look at them. Let's put faces to the voices. Let's see how they interact. That kind of thing. So we're sitting there, and somebody from the ticket who we didn't know came up to us. Apparently, we had been recognized. We'd been spotted. And this person from the ticket came up to us and was kind of not nice, was kind of like, what are you doing here? Because everybody in radio is an asshole. And they had every right to imagine that we were there to be an asshole and disrupt their show or whatever. We're like, no. And we talked now. We're like, no, man, we're legitimately fans. We're legitimately fans. We're just here. We just want to watch. And so they were okay with us being there. First commercial break. Mike Reiner comes up, introduces himself, says hello. It was just like so kind. Most people in radio aren't that kind. So I'm very excited about doing the show tomorrow. You probably wouldn't even remember that, but it was a big moment for us. So here we are 20-something years later, and tomorrow I get to sit down and chop it up with the legend of Dallas radio, Mike Reiner. He's such a nice man, too. He's such a decent guy. Yeah, his whole image is that he's gruff and leave him alone, but that's just to keep the assholes away. He's actually very kind. So I look forward to that. And because of that, because we're recording tomorrow, there will be no show. I apologize. Smee says, going back to the old Shoutbox days with Sam the Mailman and Jimmy Blue Eyes. Aw, Sam and Jimmy. Sam produced a segment on today's show. I love Sam. Sam sent me a story we're going to do. So thank you, Sammy. Chris Klunkulke. You had the legendary sports reporter, Jimmy Shorts. I did, Chris. Look at Chris throwing a throwback to the old WMVP days. Jimmy Shorts. Right. Smee says, I'm really excited for you. Reiner is the reason I continued listening to 97.1 The Freak. They switched formats because they brought him in. Peter says, you and James should drink beer online once a week. Congrats on the Reiner interview. Yeah, I don't know if congrats are the right words, but I'm flattered. I am flattered that somebody of the, that I respect, Reiner, would even think to waste like an hour talking to me. So that's I do a lot of podcasts. People ask me to do podcasts all the time. I always don't. I don't promote them. Maybe I should. Why? I got, we're a tight-knit group here. Am I promoting it to my 38 people right now? But whatever. But I typically do them. A lot of people are like, you want to do my podcast? He's like, oh, I hate getting asked to do podcasts. I like doing it. This is fun. It's just talking to people. You're just going to sit. You tell me I can sit in my house and I can talk to you and we can talk about silly stuff for an hour? I'll do that. Oh, I'm so thirsty. 12:45. We haven't even started the show. All right. What do you say we get started? Thank you so much to our executive producer today. As I pointed out, April is our executive producer. She dropped a bomb. And where is she? There it is. Boom. Thank you, April. She dropped a bomb. She dropped a bomb that really, you have no idea how much that bomb helped over the weekend. Thank you so much for allowing me to continue to have a life and do this show for you folks every day. But still, there's still today to do. So if you can drop a little something, we sure would appreciate it. It's been bad the last 3 months. It's getting harder and harder. All right, here's how this show works. It is a stream of consciousness, if you haven't noticed. What is that? That's me just sitting here talking about the world of today until I'm done. I go through all the hot topics, the current. So I like the camera here, but I can't be. I got an idea. Hold on, let me try this. This chair I sit on is about 150 pounds. It is steel and leather. Actually, I don't think it's steel. I think it's lead. Okay, maybe if I move this over a little bit. Is this better? Or is that worse? I think that might be worse. Maybe it's better. All right, we'll do it. Stream of consciousness. I just start talking. The show unfolds in 4 quarters. The first quarter we call antecedently on this day. That's this day in history. I cherry pick things from this day, previous episodes of July the 9th. We talk about them. Quarter 2 is birthdays. You know what that is. Quarter 3 is deads. Dead people. People who died on this day. Where'd they go? Heaven or hell? We will discuss. Quarter 4, hot topics, current events, trends, all of that stuff. Okay, so let's now move the camera here. This will be better. Maybe there. Okay. Are you ready? Should we get started? Why not? It is the rant for the 9th day of July, year of our Lord 2024. There are 191 days left in the year and only 191 days into this year. 175 days remaining until New Year's Day, Eve, whatever. I don't know. Who cares? Let's get started. Antecedently on this day. I feel weird. I need a drink. Yes, I will acknowledge Chris. That's good. He's not just saying that's good. He wants me to say that's good in the voice of Jimmy Shorts. On this day, antecedently in the year 1762, Catherine the Great becomes Empress of Russia following the coup against her husband. What do we know about Catherine the Great? What's like the one thing that everybody history has remembered about Catherine the Great? Forget all of the great things that she did. She was actually an incredible empress of the Russian Empire. Did a lot of important things. But what do we know about her? We know that she died while having sex with a horse, right? That's what we know. She died of, she died having sex with a... It's not how she died. It's not how she died. She died from a stroke while sitting at her desk while writing a letter to her cousin, the King of Sweden. That's how she died. That's how Catherine the Great died. So she died banging a horse. Well, as I always talk about, the freaking French. The French and the Russians hated each other. See Napoleon. The French and the Russians hated each other. And the French were very famous for their satire. The French have always been famous for their satire. They're news magazines that aren't real news at all. They're humor. But if you're a humorless person or a moron, you might read it and think it's real. So after Catherine the Great passed away, the French people, the French press, if you will, the satirical press in French, pushed a story about how she died while having sex with a horse. And the horse sat on her and crushed her. It's not real. It's not a real thing. It was a story that was pushed by the French to embarrass her. And somehow, 500 years later, that's all we know about Catherine the Great. Yeah, life sucks. All the shit that she did great things. She was really good. One of the best what is that called? One of the best emperors / empress that Russia has ever seen, Catherine the Great. But she died screwing a horse. That's how she's remembered. Antecedently on this day in 1762, Catherine the Great becomes the Empress of Russia. Antecedently on this day in 1763, this is interesting. On this day in 1763, the Mozart family, right? All we know is Wolfgang Amadeus, right? But it was on this day in 1763 that the Mozart family began a grand tour of Europe. Okay, so here's something I didn't know. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was like the Justin Bieber of his time. He was a boy bander. He had a family. His father, Leopold Mozart, was really famous. Not stands the test of the millennia famous like his son, Wolfgang. Not Wolfgang. I can't say Wolfgang. Wolfgang. So anyway, Leopold was a very famous concert dude back then. And he did this grand tour of Europe where he introduced everybody to his prodigy kid, Wolfgang. That was on this day. It started in 1763. On this day in 1776, George Washington orders the Declaration of Independence to be read out to members of the Continental Army in Manhattan. That's pretty cool. Read it to them. Antecedently on this day in 1795, financier James Swan. All right, here you go. Here's a name. Here's a name that we forget. This dude deserves to be... Why isn't this dude carved into a mountainside? James Swan, one of the founding fathers, participated in the Boston Tea Party. Was a soldier, well, actually an officer because he was a man of means. James Swan, you've never heard of him. You know what James Swan did? Oh, we've heard of Hancock and Franklin and Jefferson and Nathan Hale and Sam Adams. We know all these people. We don't know James Swan. Why should we know James Swan? Because after the Revolutionary War, James Swan went into his own bank account and paid France $2 million for helping us out. James Swan paid off the military debts of the new America. James Swan, that's freaking cool. Do you know what $2.2 million was in 1795? It was a lot of money, whole lot. Antecedently on this day in 1868, the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution is ratified. 1868, what did it do? Well, we know what the 13th is. That freed the slaves. The 14th Amendment gave full citizenship and to all persons in the United States. I'm going to read it. The 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution is ratified, guaranteeing African Americans full citizenship and all persons in the United States due process of law. There you go. 14th Amendment. Now you can whip that out whenever you need it. Antecedently on this day in 2004, that's right, we're going to jump. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We'll jump to 86. The New Zealand Parliament in 1986 passed the homosexual law. What the homosexual law in New Zealand did in 1986 was legalized gay. Legalized gay. Didn't legalize gay marriage. It legalized gay. Gay wasn't legal before 1986 in New England. Hell, it's probably illegal in most southern states in this country. The one I'm in, Texas, as well. 1986, though, New Zealand. New Zealand was already on the gays aren't so bad. New Zealand. They were thinking that way in 1986. A good 20 years before the rest of the country was like, nah. Antecedently on this day in the year 2004, the Senate report on Iraq weapons of mass destruction is released by the United States Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, casting doubt on the rationale for the Iraqi war. Well, now we know. I mean, it's been 20 years now, 2004. Now we know facts, deathbed confessions, personal diaries of people involved. Now we know that the whole weapons of mass destruction thing was bullshit. We know it was bullshit. Saddam didn't have nukes. He wasn't doing all. We wanted to go to war with them for one reason or another. I think the reason is probably money. Don't know exactly why. But it wasn't about protecting the world from Saddam Hussein and his nukes. He didn't have them. That was a trumped up thing. It was nonsense. 20 years ago, half the country, more than half the country, I think everybody believed it. I didn't. I was against that from the beginning, and I was public about it. I stand on the right side of history now, knowing what we know. Colin Powell would later say it was the most humiliating thing he's ever had to do in an entire lifetime of service to this country, was go up in front of the UN and try and convince them that Saddam had missiles when he knew that they didn't. That's antecedently on this day. Let's go into some birthdays. Let's talk about people who are celebrating them birthdays. Want 'em. They say it's their birthday. All right, let's go. Birthdays. Here we go. Born on this day in 1932. Speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Donald Rumsfeld, born on this day. We're just talking about the weapons of mass destruction's BS. Donald Rumsfeld. He was the former Secretary of Defense. Think back on Rummy. I think Rummy thought he had more power than maybe he did. Wasn't he kicked out after he got a little bit too chesty? Also celebrating a birthday today. All right, Donald Rumsfeld, born on this day in 1932. Celebrating a birthday today. God, do I feel not in rhythm? What's wrong with me today? You guys who listen every day, what's going on with my flow? My flow is chompy. I feel like maybe I'm pushing because of yesterday. Maybe that's it. Let's go with that. All right. I apologize. We're gonna take a breath. We're going to get into this. All right, born on this day in 1938. Oh, for crying out loud. You know how I love my That Guy actors? Well, this is a That Guy actor who's dead. And this is a That Guy actor who died a couple of years ago. But he is, without a doubt, one of my favorite all-time That Guy actors from growing up. This was the very definition of a salt of the earth type character. If you needed somebody in a film to play confidence and integrity, well, you got yourself Brian Dennehy. Look at him. Handsome son of a bitch. Brian Dennehy was, of course, well, he was Tommy Boy's dad, right? We know that. Brian Dennehy was, what else was he? Well, I'll tell you what Brian Dennehy was to me. He was such a good actor. He was such a salt of the earth character that he actually made John Wayne Gacy likable. Yeah, he played John Wayne Gacy in the made-for-TV movie Gacy, which was really good. He was awesome. Oh, look at him. There he is. There's old man Brian Dennehy. Look at him. You didn't fuck with that guy. You didn't fuck with that guy, and you knew you were getting a square deal. You did a deal with Brian Dennehy. You knew it was going to be fair, but don't bring any nonsense because he doesn't take it. Happy birthday, the great Brian Dennehy. Look at him. Born on this day in 1938, dead in 2020. Born on this day in 1946, dead in 1980. How about the great Bon Scott? I was born. Man, that's not even him. The earth was shaking. I can't do it. I can't do my. I used to sing in an AC/DC cover band. Come on, come on. I was born. Nope. Can't do it. Never mind. Oh well. Younger me used to be able to do really good AC/DC covers. Can't do it anymore. Bon Scott was the singer. He's dead. We got Brian Johnston now. Brian Johnston is the singer of AC/DC. I'm sorry. He's been the singer of AC/DC for 50 years. Right? Bon Scott was singer of AC/DC for 5. Brian Johnston, born on this day in 1946. Bon Scott. Born on this day in 1947. O.J. Simpson, Orenthal, James. Wait, what? He's dead. He died this year. Go on, O.J. So over the weekend, oh my God, I fell into a stupid YouTube football hole. I found a guy. And I don't know where he is. He's like on the East Coast or something. Because he's got like an East Coast accent. I found a guy who did a 5-part YouTube deep dive. Each part is about 10 minutes. So it's a good hour breakdown. You want to talk about a football nerd. This man, he's a grown-ass man. This grown-ass man is a football nerd. He went deep of the question, who is the best running back in the history of football? He went deep. And you know me, I'm a Chicago Bear fan, so you know where my vote goes. So I wanted to watch this whole thing. And he broke it down into different categories like versatility, dependency, accomplishments, all of this kind of stuff. And it was the most detailed breakdown of statistics versus the eye test. Like, do they have the statistics? And when you look at them, do you go, whoa? Okay. Man, it was fascinating. It was really good. His top 4 here, or actually, I'll give you his top 4. Actually, I don't know what the 5th guy was. I don't know what the 5th guy was. Do I know who the 5th guy was? Hold on. Let me think about this. 5th guy was, I think the 5th guy was Earl Campbell. No. Earl Campbell was not the 5th guy. Earl Campbell and Gale Sayers were in a special category because their careers were cut short. Anyway, I don't know. But number 4 was Emmitt Smith. Number 3 was Barry Sanders. Number 2 was Jim Brown. And number 1 was Walter, of course. And it wasn't even close. Due to his statistics, it wasn't even freaking close. Watch it. I'll post it on YouTube if any of you want to get a dorky deep dive on running back breakdowns. Anyway, my point is this. It's O.J. Simpson's birthday. And O.J. Simpson came up on the list a whole number of times. O.J. Simpson is definitely one of the best running backs in the history of the NFL. But here's what held O.J. Simpson back, at least in this comparison. O.J. Simpson was just a running back. That's all he did. Didn't block, didn't catch passes, didn't throw passes. Hell, Walter Payton punted. He had a 40-yard punt once in a game in 1978, right? So versatility, O.J. didn't do so well with. Eye test, he did really well because O.J.'s got some of the best highlights. You look at O.J. Simpson's highlights and they are unbelievable. Just don't look at the ones involving his wife. You know what I'm saying? Those are not the highlights he wishes to be remembered by, but unfortunately, like Catherine the Great, that's all we're going to remember. O.J. Simpson, born on this day in 1947. Born on this day in 1952, John Tesh. John Tesh. Got to tell you something about John Tesh. Of course, Entertainment Tonight guy looks like Frankenstein. Looks like bleach blonde Frankenstein. That's who John Tesh is. Entertainment Tonight, he did that. But then it turns out we're all like, wait a second. John Tesh is like a musician? And he's like a really good musician. Like John Tesh, aside from being a guy that's on TV, or I guess he hasn't been on TV in a while, but he used to be. Aside from that, it turns out that he was as equally and more so accomplished as a musician, as a studio guy, as a composer, as a score guy. Here's the other thing about John Tesh. I met him once. Shockingly nice. Like I would think he would be a douchebag. Like he looks like he'd be one of these Hollywood bleach blood job TV anchor D-bags. He wasn't. John Tesh was actually kind of cool. I mean, I didn't spend the weekend with him, but it was like, a very quick sort of meeting and a social occasion, and you had a laugh and a smile and a hearty handshake. He seemed like a good guy. So I got no hate in my heart for John Tesh. Happy birthday. Born on this day in 1952. Born on this day in 1956, Tom Hanks. This guy. Speaking of Catherine the Great and O.J. Simpson, Tom Hanks dies today. 100 years from now, they're going to be like, he was an alien pedophile who ran a child pornography ring out of his garage with his wife, Rita Wilson. That's what we're going to remember about Tom Hanks. It's not true, but, people like to say shit like that. Tom Hanks seems cool. But again, Tom Hanks is also probably one of the best actors of his generation. So I don't know. I can't look at him and go, he seems cool, because he's acting. He might be acting. I don't know. I like Tom Hanks, though. I like him. First came to know Tom Hanks from Bosom Buddies. Loved that show. Remember that show? Could you do that show today? Two trans dudes? That's what they were. Stop it. The premise of Bosom Buddies was two young men in New York City couldn't afford an apartment on their own. So they took an apartment in an all-female boarding house, something that, quite frankly, I don't think existed still in 1980, but whatever, it was the premise for the sitcom. So they decided they were going to live in this all-women's boarding house. And of course, it was filled with like hot chicks, like Donna Dixon. Donna Dixon was in there. She was hot. So they had to wear dresses. So they had to be trans. They had to become, women. They convinced everybody. They were ugly women, Peter Scolari and Tom Hanks. They were not attractive women, but somehow it worked. That was 80s TV. Terrible show. Terribly stupid show. And then you're like, but holy fuck, it starred Tom Hanks. I mean, at least his performances were good, right? No, stupid. Just really stupid. Happy birthday, Tom Hanks. Born on this day in 1957. Let's look at this. I like this. I like this lady. I used to have such a crush on this lady. And then that all went to shit. She was super hot for, 5 years or so. And then her personal life became public. And then she was never allowed to work in Hollywood again. And we've never heard tell or tale of, here, let me show you who. Yeah, she was a hottie, man. She was definitely hot. Here we go. Boom. Happy birthday. Super hot. Kelly McGillis, Top Gun. Take my breath away. Remember how hot she was? I mean, as an actress, not physically. She was very attractive. She was very sexy as the combat instructor. What was her deal in Top Gun? She wasn't a pilot. What was she, like an engineer? What was her deal? Why was she like the boss of Top Gun pilots? I don't know. Anyway, here she is. Kelly McGillis. She was really pretty. Here's another fun fact about her. She used to be really fat. Kelly McGillis dropped like 60 pounds in the 80s. She was a fat girl like her whole life. And then in the 80s, she dropped like 60 pounds and became like a Hollywood babe. There, look at that. That used to be a fat chick. Nope, Kelly McGillis. So here's what happened to Kelly McGillis of Top Gun. She was a big star. She's been cast in all kinds of movies. She's the girl from Top Gun. Let's make her a star. And then she started dating Jodie Foster. Yeah, that's what happened. Started dating Jodie Foster around the 1990s. They started hanging out together, and that was not tolerated. Lesbianism was not tolerated. Jodie Foster had been hounded for years. Remember, there was every year at the Oscars, it was like, somebody's gonna out Jodie Foster, and everyone in Hollywood's like, what do you mean out Jodie Foster? She's not in. Jodie Foster's been Jodie Foster her whole life. We know what she is. She has girlfriends. What do you mean you're going to out Jodie Foster? Well, I guess to people in Nebraska, that would have been news. But, nobody in Hollywood thought it was a shock that Jodie Foster was gay. And then she started running around with Kelly McGillis from Top Gun. And Hollywood decided, nope, she can't be hot and a lesbian. We've got to kill her career. Today, Kelly McGillis teaches theater in North Carolina. Did she even get an invite? Was she in? Did she show up in the new Top Gun? Or did they just completely forget about her? Let's see. There she is. God, she was beautiful. She really was pretty. Sexy. Kelly McGillis. All right, there we go. Happy birthday, Kelly McGillis, born on this day in 1957. You were lesbian 20 years too early. That's the problem with you. Lesbian 20 years too early. She was lesbian before lesbian was cool. Oh, she also dated dudes, though. That was her thing. She was like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But now she's full blown. She lives with a woman in North Carolina and all that stuff. Kelly McGillis, career cut short because of who she loves. Born on this day in 1957. Born on this day in 1964. How about a shout out to one of the most whacked out crazy bitches in history, Courtney Love. Courtney Love. Let me tell you something about Courtney Love. Trouble. I never met Courtney Love, but I probably did. It's one of those things because I think I may have met Courtney Love like before she was famous, because she was very heavy in the Chicago music scene, like before when Chicago and the Wicker Park scene was happening. And even before that, like with Wax Trax and all that, she was someone who spent time living in Chicago, crashing with all of these. Like she was a groupie. She was like this. She famously was associated with Billy Corrigan and Steve Albini, who just recently died. And this was all before Kurt. She was just some chick who was like, and we only know all of this stuff because she became very famous. And then people were like, yeah, she used to run around at the Double Door in Chicago, that kind of thing. She was a bartender there for about 3 weeks. All true. And during that time, I was working at an alternative station. And no, this was before that. I don't know. I just think Courtney Love may have been in the scene when I was in the scene, but she wasn't anybody that, I took notice of. But happy birthday, Courtney Love. You're nuts. You're nuts. You're nuts. And here's another thing. I stand on this hill. With my sword pulled from its sheath, willing to take on anybody that wants to come at me on this one. Hole, the band Hole, is good, is real good. I saw Hole, and you go into that thing and you're like, Courtney Love, they just letting her do this because she's banging Kurt, that whole thing. No, she was good. Hole was a good band. Malibu, that's such a great song. Dial Part, the whole Dial Parts. Anyway, moving on. Born on this day in 1964, Courtney Love. Born on this day in 1966. Here's another one of my favorite people. One of my favorite people who I don't know. I don't know who this person. I've never met this person, but I want to meet this person because I'm a big fan. Do you guys know this is a That Girl actress? Okay. It's been in a whole lot of things. You've seen her. Hold on, let me pull her up for you. I like her. I think she's incredibly talented. I'll tell you what she's best known for, and it might blow your mind because you've seen her in a whole bunch of other things, and you may not know that this is what she's best known for. But it's a happy birthday to the wonderful... Oh, here we go. Sorry. Pamela Adlon. Pamela Adlon, ladies and gentlemen. Do you know who Pamela Adlon is, born on this day in 1966? She's an actress. You've probably seen her. She's kind of a clone. There was a whole bunch of these Pamela Adlon looking clones. Constance Zimmer is in that group. A bunch of other ones too. Anyway, you can look it up. She's an actress. She's a voice actress. She's probably most well known as Bobby Hill from King of the Hill. That's right. She does the voice of Bobby. Also Rugrats. I guess if you're into Rugrats, she's like the main person in Rugrats. She's excellent. She's awesome. She has also been in any number of really good shows. Louie. She was in Louie. She was great on Louie. She had her own show on FX called Better Things. Didn't have a big audience. Ran for about 4 years because FX was like, this show is too good. It won all kinds of important awards. I don't think it won any Emmys, although she was nominated like 4 years in a row for Best Actress in a Comedy Series. She's terrific. It's called Better Things. If you've never seen the situation comedy, and I almost puke calling it a situation comedy because it's not. It's very much in the sense of, you remember the show Louie before he got in trouble? She was on Louie too. Remember the show Louie? Well, It's that kind of sense of that kind of vibe. Like, would you call that show Louie? Would you call Louie a comedy? Because it is a comedy. There's funny things in it, but that's what Better Things was. Do yourself a favor. Go check out Better Things. Pamela Adlon is so good. Let's see. Oh, you know what else she was in? Check this out. She goes way back. Like, she's been acting since the early 1980s. She was like a kid actress. We know her from a whole bunch of things. Most notably, she was Ione Skye's best friend in Say Anything. Remember Say Anything? She was the friend who didn't, really like Lloyd, John Cusack's character, who was like, he's kind of a loser. Anyway, Pamela Adlon, she's awesome. Happy birthday to her. Big fan. She is a clone, though. She's one of many. There's many that look like her. Tiny, dark hair. Doable, Born on this day in 1966, the great Pamela Adlon. Born on this day, celebrating a birthday, born on 1975, Jack White. American singer, songwriter, guitarist, and producer. My 15-year-old son, thinks Jack White is like the greatest rock star of all time. He's like, Jack White. He's like, Jack White is like what would he be to you, Dad? And I'm like, I don't know. Springsteen? I don't know. My kid loves Jack White. Born on this day in White Stripes, of course. Born on this day in 1975, Jack White. Born on this day in 1850, Zachary Taylor, American general. What? Huh? He's born? Wait a second. Hold on. This isn't right. Zachary Taylor. He's a spare president, but I'm a little confused about something. Bear with me. He was born on November 24th, 1784. Oh, he's a dead. Is this the deads? Oh, we've moved into deads. That's why I was confused. I apologize. That's right. Jack White, born in 75. That's the end of the birthdays. Now let's move on to the deads, right? Here we go. Dead people. These are people who died on this day. We decide, after inspecting their life's resume, whether they went to heaven or hell. Zachary Taylor, American general and politician, the 12th president of the United States. Spare president, to be sure. I don't even, 1850 was ramp up to the Civil War, I guess. He was one of those guys. One of those guys who screwed the pooch so bad that we divided ourselves as a nation for a sad few years. Zachary Taylor died on this day in 1850. Do you know how he died? He ate bad fruit at a 4th of July party. A president of the United States, Zachary Taylor, on 4th of July, attended a big party. Apparently, he consumed copious amounts of raw fruit. They call it raw fruit. I don't know what that is. What is raw fruit? Isn't all fruit raw? Well, I guess I guess an apple that's been baked into a pie isn't raw, but raw fruit. So I guess they just pick shit off trees and said, "Here, Mr. President, eat." And something happened, and he died. He got sick. He got sick from raw fruit and iced milk. And it specifically says raw fruit and iced milk. What is iced milk? So you were going to make ice cream, but you quit halfway through. I don't know what iced milk is. Anyway, spare president, Zachary Taylor, he goes to hell. He goes to hell, of course, because he's a politician, and that's just the rules. Whenever a politician dies, in an absence of an obvious good thing that they've done, all politicians go to hell without consideration. And Zachary Taylor, President of the United States, you are one of them. Dead on this day in 2004, going to put this lady in heaven, just out of the box, because I just loved her. I don't know. I felt she was like comfort food to me when I was a little kid watching the show with my grandma and my grandpa. Isabel Sanford, Wheezy Jefferson, dead on this day in 2004. Isabel Sanford. You want to hear a weird fun fact about the Jeffersons? So the Jeffersons was a spinoff of All in the Family, and they were a black family who lived on Archie Bunker's block in Queens. And Archie always had problems with the Jeffersons because they were the only black people. And they moved. They moved on up. If you believe the theme song, George Jefferson was a very successful dry clean store operator. He owned a bunch of dry cleaning stores, and he was moving on up. So they moved into Manhattan. Wheezy and George got themselves a maid. They moved into a high-rise apartment. Fancy times. They left old Archie Bunker and the folks there on Hauser. Is it Hauser? 1330. What is it? What was the address of the? I know it's weird, but I do know the address of Archie Bunker's house. It was on Hauser in Queens, Hauser Street in Queens. Whatever. Wheezy and George Jefferson. Isabel Sanford, dead on this day in 2004. Here's the fun fact. That was all exposition. Here's the fun fact. Isabel Sanford, who played the wife of George Jefferson, Sherman Hemsley, Isabel Sanford was 21 years older than George Jefferson. Wheezy was old enough to be George's mom. By the way, that bugged Sherman Hemsley. He hated that. He did not like that they cast this woman 21 years older than him to play his wife. Anyway, she died on this day. We're putting her in heaven. She's Wheezy Jefferson. Dead on this day in 2019, Ross Perot. He's going to hell, with all due respect to anyone that may know him, because quite the figure here in North Texas. Ross Perot is a politician and a billionaire, so sorry, not going to consider much there. Enjoy hell. Dead on this day in 2019. Here's a guy who probably would prefer to be in hell, but I'm going to put him in heaven because I love him so much. Rip Torn. Rip Torn died on this day, year of our Lord 2019. Hold on a second. Sorry, I got to check something. Who was Rip Torn? Rip Torn was an actor. Rip Torn played Artie. I don't know if you guys have ever seen the Larry Sanders Show, the HBO show. Gary Shandling was the star of it. It was a, boy, oh boy, that's another one of these shows for you rookies who are unfamiliar. You want to see like just apex comedy that holds up. And I know because I made my 15-year-old watch a bunch of episodes of this like a year ago. And he's like, "This show's funny, Dad." I go, "Yeah, I know it's funny. It's funny. It's just funny, and funny is timeless." Larry Sanders, the Larry Sanders Show, was about a guy named Larry Sanders who hosted something that would be akin to The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson. Maybe more of a Jay Leno type. Larry Sanders played a talk show host. And the show, The Larry Sanders Show on HBO, was all about the behind the scenes and, the anxiety and, how petty Hollywood is. It was brilliant. Rip Torn, dead on this day in 2019, played the executive producer, Artie. Artie was so funny. He was just such a beautiful portrayal of what executive producers to big stars are supposed to be. Confidant, cheerleader, pit bull. That's how Artie played his role with Larry Sanders. So good. He was also an alcoholic in real life and in the show, which is funny. Drunk Artie in the Larry Sanders Show, hysterical. Drank salty dogs. And if you didn't drink a salty dog, you were a pussy. Have another salty dog. Rip Torn's awesome. Rip Torn in his real life got drunk, broke into a bank, and went to sleep on the floor. This was like 10 years ago. Wait, when did he die? We'll see. He died in 2019. Yeah, it's probably about 10 years ago. He was in Connecticut. Rip Torn liked to drink in retirement. He got loaded, and he drove to a bank that he thought was his house, which makes me wonder, what kind of house you living in, Rip? Well, you think the local Chase branch... Hold on. Somebody just sent me a message, and it's Summer. It might be my kid. Political texts. I'm now getting political texts. Please stop it. Anyway, Rip Torn, he's dead. Don't know what he died of. Probably died of like 50 years of just copious amounts of alcohol intake. I'm putting him in heaven because I like Rip Torn. All right, there you go. That's the first 3 quarters of today's show. Shmee says, Rip Torn let us know that if we can dodge a wrench, we can dodge a ball. That's right, dodgeball. He was the coach. He was the grizzled old, what was his name? Patty O'Houlihan's or something like that. God, he was great. Barney says the museum doesn't get Ross to heaven. No. No. What, because a rich person throws his name on a building? It's not like Ross Perot traversed the globe, coming up with all these things. He didn't find the things that are in the Perot Museum. He just cut a check. He cut a check knowing that his entire life was filled with awful bullshit and expecting someone exactly like you, Shmee. No, Barney? Yeah, Barney. Expecting someone exactly like you, Barney, to forget all the bullshit he did in his life and go, but again, it was a museum. Stop it, Barnes. You're better than that. And I know you. I feel like we've got a connection. I know you're better than that. No, the museum doesn't get Ross Perot into heaven. All right, that's going to do it. Once again, thank you so much to April. April dropped a bomb. April dropped us a bomb. She helped keep this show going. We're nowhere near where we need to be. Thank you to the people who have helped out the show this month with your tips. That's how we get through. We're nowhere near it. So if you can help keep the show going, there's no show tomorrow. There may be nope, not going to do it. Never mind. I was going to do this whole like, well, that was me. Tip the show. Fuck that. You people know how desperate this situation is. So if you're so compelled, do it. I'm not going to be it either works or it doesn't work. All right. First 3 quarters are in the books. Again, not doing a show tomorrow. So I apologize for that in advance, but I will try and do something tomorrow at some point because it's a compulsion of mine now, like a stupid addiction. You people are enablers. I need to not do this. Coffee. How about some coffee? Look at how skanky my coffee cup is. Oh my God. Oh, it's because I poured coffee on the lid today by accident. It wasn't open. I thought it was open. I started pouring coffee like onto the top of this thing and it went all over because I'm an idiot. Wasn't paying attention. All right. Quarter 4 was it like I just did blow. Did you see that? Like, no, that was actually a booger, but it was like it gonna come up like that. No, not the show. I said earlier, I couldn't do this. Is a stream of consciousness. I couldn't do this show on drugs. There'd be no way that it would stay within the parameters of current events talk the way I need it to. It is quarter 4. Oh, and by the way, if you want to help out, there you go. Please. All right, quarter 4. We're going to get through all the hot topics, the current events, the headlines, everything that people are talking about in today's world. We're going to run them all down for you as the, oh no, don't stop here. Oh, big giant landscaping truck just pulled up. So, you know, the noise is probably going to be a problem. Yeah, and the dog is, you know what is like the thing that triggers my dog CeeLo, who we talk about a lot because she's a handful. The thing that triggers my dog CeeLo more than anything else are 2 things actually, but they're very similar. And I don't think she makes a distinction between the 2. Weed whackers and leaf blowers. Oh my God. It's like pulling a gun on her. It's like you show up to like our yard with a leaf blower. Oh my God, the dog is going nuts. So we've got that to look forward to. Hopefully we'll not be too interrupted. All right, let's get into all the hot topics. Everything that we need to talk about. What are the big things that are happening today? Okay, first and foremost, what do we got behind it? Yeah, there you go. That's exactly it. Perfect timing. Dem leaders speak after meeting on Obama's future. Let's hear what they're saying. We gotta get rid of this guy.
There's been a discussion among both sides of the Capitol Dome. Let's start there. And if there are other reforms that are worthy of consideration, we should debate them as we debate a variety of issues when it comes to keeping government safe and ensuring that we have a functioning democracy.
The first thing that's going to happen when we flip the House and hold the Senate is we're going to send a bill to codify Roe versus Wade to President Biden. He's going to sign it. That's the difference. That's what's at stake this election. Donald Trump would veto such a bill because Donald Trump caused Roe versus Wade.
Right, Ted Lieu. I don't need any more of that. Okay, so they're not. So here's the story. Biden is defiant. What is he defiant? We need him to get out of here. Look, if you're an American, you need him to get out of here. He's just, he can't do it. He can't do it. This is not about, beating Trump. I'm not political. I don't care. But I do think it's so weird. And it is not good for Trump that he's still, up until that horrible debate performance, he was still basically neck and neck tied with Biden. They were like statistically within the average of what do they call that? Where it's, you know what I'm saying? I'm saying it was close. How is Trump so close to this guy? What is going on with Democrats out there or just the anti-Trump people that they must dislike Trump so much that they're tethered to this guy who any rational person can see if he wins, he can't be president for 4 more years. The end is quick with older folks. You go, it's not like it is when you're in your 20s. Like there's no difference between a 24-year-old and a 28-year-old really. But there was a huge difference between an 81-year-old and an 85-year-old. The decline comes quick, and we are watching the decline, and there's still half of this fucking country who thinks that let's roll the dice and maybe he could be our guy. No, we don't want him to be our guy. Even if you don't want the other guy to be your guy, you sure as shit shouldn't want Biden to be your guy. Anybody who still supports Biden, who still looks at this guy and thinks that he is the best thing for this country for the next 4 years, I don't know what you're looking at. I mean, I want somebody new. And that's not even to say that I would vote for somebody new. But I'm telling you, I don't want any more old guys. Somebody runs a 50-year-old, he's got my vote. I don't care. I don't care where he's from. And you just can't be like, you just can't be like that Josh Hawley guy. Like, fuck that guy. And you can't be like that Adam Schiff guy. Like, those are like the two, like on both sides. And I'm like, you guys are gross. You guys are both weirdos. Can't we have any normal politicians? What if just a normal dude showed up? Like, we don't even know who he is. Just comes out of the cornfields of Iowa. I'm Jeff Ballard and I'm running for president. I don't know. I just want new. Wipe the slate clean. Biden's defiant, though. He ain't going anywhere. He's like, I can do this. And we're like, no, you can't. No, you can't, man. This is the most fun. This Democratic convention is going to be a blast. And I've been saying it for months. Months ago, people were like, you're crazy. That would never happen. Like, oh, it's happened before. And certainly it could happen this time. It'll never happen. I've been predicting an open convention. Open, let's do floor fights. Let's go. Delegates from all the states. Biden's gone. Who are we going to bring it? That'll be fun. And then whatever. Then we'll have a horse race. This is lame. This is not. Watching these two old bags of garbage just, climb up on stages at county fairs. Oh, God. You both suck. Biden's being defiant. Biden's going to lose. Biden's defiance is going to cause him to lose. And then I can't wait to see all the liberal Democrats who right now are like, he should be allowed to continue to run if he wants. As soon as Biden loses, all of those people will be like, he should never have done. Oh, shut up. Stake your claim right now. Say what you feel. Bunch of Dems keep going. A bunch of Dems went and met with him in the Oval Office. And they're like, you can't do this. And he's like, yes, I can. And then they came out and they're like, he can do it. I'm like, oh, you fucking people. You people suck. Put the screws to him, man. Come on. How much humiliation can this poor guy take? Seriously. At this point, he should just be on a dock fishing. Can you fish in Delaware? They got water there. There's a lot of water in Delaware, right? Yeah, I think so. All right, Biden is defiant. Moving on to the other side of the shit show that we call a 2024 presidential election. Trump's got to have to announce a VP pretty soon here because the Republican convention is coming up next week, right? 6 days. There you go, right there on the screen. 6 days next week. The Republican convention kicks off in Milwaukee. This is around the time, I would say today, tomorrow, Thursday. I mean, they will absolutely go into the weekend with an announced vice presidential pick for the Trump campaign. They won't come out of the unless they're in. Well, it is a shit show. So what do I know? They might even the first day of the convention, Trump might still have these sycophants groveling for a little bit of police prostrating themselves. So here's what we're looking at. These are the top three believed to be. Nobody knows nothing. And Trump will just go, change my mind. James Woods is my new vice presidential ticket mate. No, so here's the three. You got Rubio, Senator Rubio from Florida. You got Senator Vance, you look in that fucking guy's eyes. Oh my God, what do you see? I see fucking just zombie eyes. That dude has zombie eyes. I'm sorry. He came out of nowhere. He doesn't say much. He wrote a book about hillbillies. They made it into a movie, and all of a sudden he's going to be a vice president? That's who fucking J.D. Vance is? We don't know anything about this guy. Whatever. Thinks he can win Ohio. I understand it. That's a strategic pick. Although I don't think J.D. Vance is wildly popular in Ohio. He didn't win his senatorial election by a landslide. It was a squeaker. So So you got Rubio down there in Florida. You got Vance and you got Burgum. You got Doug Burgum. Here's what I like about Doug Burgum. What is he? He's the president. He's the president of North Dakota, or South Dakota or something. He's one of those. He doesn't matter. The state Doug Burgum presides over doesn't matter. What matters is dude looks like George Washington. Dude looks like George Washington. And I think that's enough for Trump. I think, look at this guy. You're going to not vote for a guy that looks like George Washington. I can see that. Here's who I think. I don't know. Who would I go with? Rubio. He doesn't need Rubio. Trump's going to win Florida. Doesn't need Rubio. Vance brings him Ohio, which is a contested state. So Vance might be good there. Burgum looks like George Washington, but who the fuck cares about, 3 delegates from, the Dakotas, right? That's not really going to. And by the way, Trump's probably going to win the Dakotas anyway, because the rule is if your nearest neighbor is 15 miles away, you vote Trump. That's just how it works. So, he's already got that. I don't know. Rubio, Vance, and Burgum. Can I just tell you, Vance, absolutely not. Vance, a heartbeat away, an old man heartbeat away from the presidency? Are you fucking kidding me? No. So Vance can't do it. Rubio could. Rubio could. I would not. Look, Rubio is a fucking politician. That's all. He's gonna maintain the levers of government. He's gonna twist the dials appropriately. He's gonna do shit that people are gonna hate. He's a politician, right? That's who Rubio is. But again, I don't know what kind of advantage he brings to Trump in Florida. I don't know that Trump needs that out of Florida. But I would go Rubio. Burgum, hey, if we're just rolling the dice, maybe I'd be okay with Burgum. Looks like George Washington. Don't know anything about him. Let's go. Right now, in this country, in politics, the less you know about a candidate, the more you like them. That's just how it is. Give me somebody I know nothing about. I will vote for that person before all of these other people, because the toxicity of current, political discourse in this country is basically stained everybody that we know about. I don't have a problem with Rubio, though. I think Rubio is a politician. But, look, I think if Trump drops dead, if Trump becomes president and he drops dead, of those 3, Rubio is the one that I'd be most okay with. Well, the other dude looks like George Washington. So, that might be fun. Boeing is in the news today again. Boeing, a bad day for Boeing yesterday. Fox Business and a number of other people. This comes from Fox Business. Boeing has agreed to a plea deal here, I'll read it to you. It's the big Boeing class action. Boeing agrees to plea deal to avoid criminal trial. Oh, this isn't the class action. Oh, this is the investigation. Boeing agrees to plea deal to avoid criminal trial over deadly 737 MAX crashes. Boeing will pay a criminal fine of $243.6 million as part of the deal. That is nothing to Boeing. That is nothing. Hell, that's probably what the president of Boeing makes in bonuses every year. Boeing has agreed to plead guilty to a criminal fraud conspiracy charge to avoid a criminal trial in connection with a Justice Department investigation into 2 deadly crashes involving 737 MAX jetliners. The criminal case relates to the 2 MAX jetliner crashes in Indonesia and Ethiopia. Well, I just don't know. When a plane crashes in Indonesia or Ethiopia, with all due respect, I don't immediately blame the plane. It's just who I am. Plane crashes, outside Pittsburgh, I think. Let's look at the plane. Plane crashes in Ethiopia. I'm like, some nonsense went on there. So that's what this is about. These 2 beautiful new 737 MAX, what are they called? 737 MAX planes. They crashed. They knew about it. Boeing knew that there were problems with this plane. Yeah, I shouldn't bury the lead. Boeing knew that there were problems with this lead, and there was a number of whistleblowers who then went to said, I can tell you what I know about. I hate that I'm so dark. Why can't I get more light on me? Well, because my eyes are sensitive and I get migraines. That's why I have the light. Well, all right. So there you go. I answered my own question. Boeing agrees to pay an absolute pittance for all that. Well, they probably looked at an Ethiopian. Were like, well, how much could their lives be worth? Right? I bet you that was part of the conversation there. More bad news for Boeing. This is the funniest story that is not being reported. It is just such a cluster F. The Boeing Starliner is still stalled out at the International Space Station. The Starliner, we covered this. We talked about it. It was a big moment for Boeing 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago now, I think. The Starliner in the heavy fuel. The Starliner is Boeing's attempt at space travel. Like what SpaceX is doing and Bezos and all that stuff. Well, Boeing's involved in this as well. And they got the Starliner, and the Starliner was essentially built to go back and forth to the International Space Station and, refuel them. It was supposed to be a much better way than how they've been doing it in the past. So 3 weeks ago, we launched the maiden voyage of the Starliner. Boeing, who, as we just reported, had been having a terrible couple of months. And so this was a big thing for them. They're like, we can finally show the world that we can do something right. And they did. Boeing Starliner, it was gorgeous. It just took off from that pad and went straight up to the ISS. Got up in there. They're all high-fiving. We saw the videos. The videos were sent back to Earth. It's like, look at the crew of the ISS greeting the Starliner crew as they dock and come aboard. So they probably had a couple of drinks, maybe shared a sandwich or something. And then the guys in the Starliner, they're like, we got to get back home. And they went and they got in the Starliner, and it was yee, yee, yee. Yee, yee, yee. The fucking Starliner stalled out. They can't get the Starliner has been stuck now to the ISS. The dudes who are on the Starliner are now in the ISS. They've been sleeping on floors because it's not like they have guest bedrooms on the International Space. They're sleeping on floors. Do you sleep on floors in space, or do you just float? It's the ISS. Do you float in the ISS? See, this is where movies have completely ruined what we know is actually doable in space. When we see a movie that depicts life on a space station, it's basically just people walking around in gravity and they're listening to Motown music while they cook dinner. It's all that bullshit. I don't think that's real. I think it's hell up there. I think you're just constantly floating around. Anyway, these dudes, the Boeing Starliner crew, they're stuck up there. They can't get them back. They don't have enough food for everybody up there. They're running out of food. They're running out of space. They're not supposed to be 2 or 3 more people up there. I don't even know how many are up there. I'm ranting. Why does it matter? There you go. More bad news for Boeing. Oh, and they can't get them back. You know why? Because the part they need for the Starliner, the part they need is back on Earth. So, how are they going to get it to them? They got to, it's going to be a while. All right, let's talk about Alec Baldwin. Everybody's least favorite good actor. He's a good actor. I'm sorry. I'm always going to tell you, Alec Baldwin's a good actor, man. You people, you can hate him for his politics and all that stuff. That's fine. But what do I tell you about art? Separate the art from the artist. You will have no joy in this life if you can't separate art from the artist. Artists are weird. Art is cool. There you go. That's how you do it. Alec Baldwin, he is so hated. He went hard, though. He kind of brought it on himself, didn't he? Remember all those months on Saturday Night Live where Alec Baldwin was playing the Trump guy, making fun of him, and then he was Mr. like angry liberal, and everybody had, what are you doing, dog? Yeah, just make yourself comfortable, stupid. Oh, she's going to knock the camera because I had to change the camera around. Ugh. I got a 75-pound side of beef right now, just trying to figure out where to lay, where to lay at my feet. You want to just lay there? Why don't you lay there, kiddo? All right, there she goes. She's fine. Anyway, I like Baldwin. I think Baldwin's funny. Glenn Ross, excellent. Good actor. The Cooler. I don't know if you've ever seen The Cooler. Good movie. Hunt for Red October? Is that him? Maybe. Let's give him credit for it. Sure. But Jack Donaghy from 30 Rock. That dude was hysterical. That character on 30 Rock of Jack Donaghy, dude, lay down. What are you doing? Yes, now I am yelling at you. I'm not just yelling into the ether. I'm yelling at you specifically. Lay down, girl. Good girl. That's a good girl. I know she's laying down. I don't know. I like Baldwin as a performer, but he's on trial. That's right. This whole Rust thing. 3 years ago, the Rush shooting occurred. Well, 3 years in like September or something. But so Rust is the movie they were shooting in North, New Mexico, Western. Who the fuck cares about a Western? Just ask Kevin Costner, right? Kevin Costner knows. Baldwin's making a Western. Someone gets killed. The armorer, a woman by the name of Hannah Gutierrez. The armorer was put on trial. She was convicted. Now she's in jail or something. I don't know. Maybe she's appealing, but whatever. Initially, Alec Baldwin, who is the actor who was handed the loaded gun and then fired, killing the assistant director, Elena Hutchins, initially Baldwin was cleared. They were like, well, yeah, I mean, nobody thinks you actually woke up and said, I'm going to kill this one. Nobody thinks that. And then there was all kinds of political pressure. There was all kind of like crazy far right, political interests in the state of New Mexico decided they were going to bring charges against him. So whereas the original district attorney or whoever it was in the area decided not to bring charges, they then revisited it a couple months later, and now they're bringing charges. So the trial of Alec Baldwin has started. The question is, what do we do to him for murdering this woman? I mean, even James Parker, who I was talking with last night, we chewed on this a little bit. Even James Parker, who was like, no Alec Baldwin supporter, he's like, he didn't kill this woman. This is an accident. You got to be able to look at life and go, what is an actual murder? What is an actual intent? Intent is everything. Intent is everything when someone dies, because when someone dies, it's terrible. And you have to figure out, was this accidental or was there intent behind the death? There was no intent behind the death of this woman. This is what happens when you play with guns. That's it. They're doing a cowboy movie. Guns. That's what happens. Sometimes people fuck up. Hannah Gutierrez, the 21-year-old, 25-year-old, I don't know, 21 or 25, something like that. It's only her second film. She'd only done 2 movies as an armorer. And somehow she had a big box of bullets, and they were all stage bullets. And somehow a real bullet got in there. And when she took the gun for the scene, and she loaded it with the bullets, she handed it to the actor. The question becomes, what expectation does the actor have? And it is clear as fucking day. The actor is an actor. He knows he's acting. This is all fucking pretend. When he's handed a gun by somebody on stage and told to point it, as it says in the script, he has no responsibility for if that gun is actually loaded with a real bullet, because he has no expectation that it would be. The bullet, it's not we're not really firing guns. He didn't do it on purpose. And they're trying to ruin him and whatever. I think that has a lot to do with his overconfidence and his political opinions and all that kind of stuff. This is what's called a witch hunt, okay? This is what a real witch hunt is, because there is no rational thinking human being, whether you despise Alec Baldwin, no matter how MAGA you are, you're a fucking moron if you think he deserves to go to jail for the murder of this woman. Then you obviously make no distinction between murder and manslaughter, and you have to be held to that forever now. So stop it. Is he a D-bag? Yeah, he's a Hollywood D-bag. Is he a murderer? Should he go to jail for murdering this woman? No, of course not. It was a terrible accident. Somebody is responsible. And unfortunately, I think that goes back to the person who's in charge of making sure there aren't real bullets in the guns. And that person has already gone through the process. That's been adjudicated. They found that she was responsible for the bullet getting in there. Okay. April says Alec was the main lead producer and money behind the movie. He was rushing everyone and playing with the guns. April says, I will let you know what the evidence shows, but as far as I know, Alec knew the rules of not shooting loaded guns at someone, even if it's dummies. Well, those are the arguments. But again, intent. You put someone in jail for intent. You consider someone to be a murderer. You ruin their lives for intent. I don't think his intent. Playing with guns, but they're actors. That's all they're doing is playing. I don't know. I think it's absurd for people to be like, he's a murderer and he should go to jail forever. I'm like, you're stupid. You're stupid. That's dumb. Yeah. All right. You want to ruin his career and so you never have to see him again? Well, this may have done that. I don't know how bankable Alec Baldwin is ever going to be again. Doesn't he have like 12 kids too? He said like 12 kids in like 5 years. He's married to a much younger woman who pretends she's from somewhere else. Have you ever seen this? Do you know about his wife? Oh, his wife is a piece of work. Gorgeous. Hilaria. Hilaria is hilarious. She does interviews where early on she pretended that she was like from Portugal or something, and she would do these interviews and she would have this really thick accent and talk about how she does not speak English well. And then you see her like a couple of months later and she's from New Jersey and you're like, what the fuck is this woman about? She's a weirdo. She's weird. They're all weird. Anyway, the trial of Alec Baldwin, the Rust trial, it began this week. They're doing jury selections and all that kind of stuff. And let's just watch, shall we? He didn't intend to kill her. He didn't think that the gun, he had no reason to expect. There was no expectation that there was a live bullet in there. And by the way, April does point out that he's a producer, but they've also already created what they call a back end deal for the family of Elena Hutchins. So the kid is going to be taken care of, which is why if this movie comes out on pay-per-view, even if you don't want to watch it, just pay the $2.99 or whatever. Get it on pay-per-view for $2.99 because all of that money is going to the kid, okay? The 4-year-old son that Elena Hutchins left behind in the wake of this tragic accident. James is like, it better be a good movie. I'm like, this is not going to be a good movie. This is not going to be this is going to be a stupid, boring movie. First of all, it's a Western. Westerns suck. Just ask the American movie-going public how they enjoyed Kevin Costner's Horizon. I mean, people don't like Westerns anymore. Anyway, the trial starts this week. How about this guy, Brett Favre? Can we all say F Brett Favre? I'm a Chicago Bear fan, so you all know my feelings on Brett Favre. I hate him. I hate Brett Favre. I still hate Brett Favre more than I hate Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers had my respect. I'm a Chicago Bear fan, so we hate the Green Bay Packers. And for about 20 years now, we have had to go up against two of the best quarterbacks that the NFL has ever known. Just twice a year, it was like 1998. We're up 17 in the third quarter on the Packers. Oh, here comes Brett Favre. Oh, Jesus. I lost that one, So we had that. And then when Brett Favre finally ended, we were like, oh, this is great. But no, Packers then ran out Aaron Rodgers to us. Brett Favre, I never liked. Never thought Brett Favre was all that great. I thought Brett Favre was fucking lucky. I thought Brett Favre was a gambler who took way too many chances. And okay, maybe he said his prayers that day because they worked out for him. They worked out for him. I can't explain it. He is an anomaly at quarterback. He was a bench player for the Atlanta Falcons. He wasn't supposed to be good. And he became Brett Favre with the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers was different. Aaron Rodgers is, I've said this, Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback I've ever seen. Aaron Rodgers has broken my heart as a Chicago Bear fan much more than Brett Favre did. And I hated Brett Favre for it. Aaron Rodgers is just a weirdo and a jerk, and I don't like him personally. But Aaron Rodgers is a better quarterback than Brett Favre, in my opinion, having seen a great deal of both of their careers. Back to Brett Favre. Why is he in the news? Because remember when Brett Favre is also a piece of shit human being. Brett Favre comes from a long line of pieces of shit. I don't know if you've ever looked at the Brett Favre family tree, but his family is filled with criminals, convicts, and con men. His entire family, they're just like really trash. They're like real Mississippi trash. I remember there was a period of time, a sports show that I used to listen to in Chicago when Brett Favre was the starting quarterback for the Green Bay Packers. A sports guy in Chicago went through a list of Brett Favre relatives who are currently in prison and what they did. And it was like, what? They're just bad. They're just bad people. So Brett Favre, he gets out of football and now he's got a little bit of stroke down there in Mississippi. And how does a person from bad lineage react? Well, he stole money from the welfare fund there in Mississippi. Brett Favre used his power as a high-profile individual to go around and make speeches on behalf of I don't know what it was. I don't know what he was talking about. But anyway, all right, I'm going to read this to you. He stole money, $1.1 million worth of money from the welfare fund in Minnesota that Brett Favre was now responsible for redirecting to a new volleyball stadium at his alma mater, Mississippi State. And oh yeah, his daughter just happens to play volleyball there. So he took like $1.1 million away from the food stamp budget in Mississippi and built a volleyball court. Okay. Now, that's all, but we know what that is. He had to pay it all back, plus he had to pay a fine. But the sports world went hard on Brett Favre. And Shannon Sharpe, who incidentally, like his brother, Shannon Sharpe's brother, Sterling Sharpe, was one of Brett Favre's teammates and targets. Shannon Sharpe went on Undisputed, the show he used to do on FX Fox Sports with Skip Bayless. He went on Undisputed and talked some shit on Brett Favre when this was all going on, and Brett Favre decided to sue him. Brett Favre suing his favorite target from back in the days, brother. Brett Favre is asking an appeals court to reinstate. Here, let's see what this is. Stop licking your cooch. Oh my God, the dog is making me nuts. Brett Favre is asking an appeals court to reinstate his defamation lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe. Lawyers for retired NFL quarterback Brett Favre asked a federal appeals court on Tuesday to revive a defamation lawsuit that Favre filed against a fellow Pro Football Hall of Fame member, former tight end Shannon Sharpe, amid the backdrop of a Mississippi welfare scandal that is one of the state's largest public corruption cases. A federal judge in Mississippi threw out the lawsuit in October. Brett Favre tried to sue Shannon Sharpe, and a judge in Mississippi said, you can't do that. A federal judge in Mississippi threw out the lawsuit in October, saying that Sharpe used constitutionally protected speech on a sports broadcast when he criticized Favre's connection to the welfare scandal. Favre's lawyer, Amit Vohra, told 3 Fifth U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals judges in New Orleans that the lawsuit should be revived, arguing that Sharpe accused Favre, who has not been charged with a crime. Sharpe said during a September 2022 broadcast on the Fox Sports show, Skip and Shannon Undisputed, here's what he said. He said that Favre was, quote, taking from the underserved, that he, quote, stole money from people that really needed that money, and that someone would have to be a sorry person to steal from the lowest of the low. So that's what Brett Favre said, and that's what Shannon Sharpe said about Brett Favre. Brett Favre got mad. He sued him. A judge said, sorry, Brett, I know you don't like to hear it, but he's allowed to say that about you. So now Brett Favre is appealing that and hoping to get that. Just go away, Brett. Brett, you know what you can do? You just need to go away from this story. You just need to stop. You need to stop, because every time you do something about this story, someone like me goes on a stream and talks about how you stole money from poor people in Mississippi. Okay? You drove. Never mind. Almost said something I shouldn't say about Brett Favre. Not on a stream anyway, because as I've just learned with the story, he's quite litigious. Here's a good one. Here's a good one. Any of you Christian nationalists out there? Hey, we got any Christian nationalists in our chat room here? Because this is embarrassing for you guys. Christian nationalists. Do you remember? Can I show you this? Yeah, I'll show you this. Okay, we'll show you this first. So do you remember, I think it was last year during Gay Pride Month, do you remember when a whole bunch of, like a couple of U-Haul trucks got pulled over there somewhere in like Oregon or something? And in this U-Haul truck, or in the backs of these U-Haul trucks, were all of these like heavily armored up and militarized Patriot Front dudes. You know, these groups of like bored men who decide you can't bowl. What the fuck? You joining a Patriot Front? Beer league softball doesn't exist where you are. You got to join it. So anyway, they loaded up a whole bunch of these Patriot Front people. They put them in the back of U-Hauls, and they were going to deliver them to some Portland Pride Parade, where these dudes were going to get out of the truck and they were going to beat the fuck out of everybody. They were going to cause problems. That's basically the plan. Here, we got video. I'll show you the video. This is the video from when that happened. It was a big story. There's more. There's more on this. Here you go. All right, video. Remember this? All right, look at this nonsense. Dude, they all got so the cops pulled over the U-Haul truck, opened up the back, and lo and behold, a bunch of terrorists, a bunch of idiots, a bunch of dudes in stupid fucking, what are the khakis and a black shirt? They're all dressed in the same like nerds. There they go. So we saw that. These losers, they all get arrested. They all get taken in. Well, guess what? One of them, who is a Christian nationalist and has all kinds of social media where he talks about Tom Hanks being a pedophile. That's why I referenced it earlier. It's where all these people projecting everyone in Hollywood's a pedophile. You know, these people that do that. Yeah, well, one of those dudes that we just saw in the back of that truck, he's now been charged with, well, let's get it right. He's been charged with creating, distributing, and producing child pornography. He's a good Christian. See, these fucking people who take it to that level, I'm a good Christian and I must fight for. You're covering for something. They're covering for something. They are trying to project this image of being this good Christian because that's what they think they're supposed to be. But they know that that's not the reality because they know how fucking evil and fucked up they are. So they go hard in that. They project all of this other stuff. We're just here to stomp the heads of pedophiles. Meanwhile, his phone's got a shit ton of kiddie porn on it. It's called projecting, okay? People do this. This is such a normal thing now. Projecting. Whatever is your deepest, darkest, most fucked up secret, you're going to project that onto somebody else. I bet he sleeps with his mom. Excuse me, dude? What are you talking about? Well, no, that's pretty random, pretty specific. Why would you? No, but he has the look of a guy who probably sleeps with his mom. Projection. Stop it. Stop projecting. You're not fooling anybody anymore. You're like, okay. That's why every time I see these people online that are like, he's a pedophile, like this pushing of the pedophile narrative, this idea, and it's a right thing. It's a right thing. It's something you guys on the right do, man. And it's really gross. Everybody's a pedophile. Everybody's not a pedophile, motherfucker. I'm sorry. Everybody's not. There are a lot, and we need to be serious about getting those people, but everybody's not a pedophile. This guy, though, this Patriot Front dude, he is. He absolutely is. Here's a story. Utah Patriot Front member and Christian nationalist will be sentenced for child pornography charges. Should we get a look at this guy? Want to see what he looks like? He's an American. He's an American. He was going down there. He was gonna break the skulls of some fags, and he was gonna do it in the name of America. And he's a good man. He's good. Don't get it twisted. He's one of the good ones. Yeah, we'll show him. Look at this guy. This fucking guy just looks like he looks like he's been thrown out of a few bars, if you know what I mean. Drunkenly thrown. There he is. Here he is. Here's your heroes. They're Christians and patriots. What could be wrong with that? They're projecting. They're trying a little too hard, is my point. I love this country. I love America. But you know what I don't do? I don't run around going, America first. I'm American. Look at my flag. I don't have none of my avatars on social media are whoring out the flag so that you see that and go, he's good. He's an American. He's got a flag. Fuck you. You're trying too hard. Stop with the projection. Trust me, this country doesn't need patriots who are just being bullshit like that. What it needs are people who honestly, stop it. Stop it. Sorry. Anyway, I hate these people. Hate these dudes. Dude, get in a softball league, okay? All right, moving on. What else do we have here? Here's a fun story. This isn't really news. I mean, it is news. It's news if you live in Ohio. It's not really national news, but it's so funny. It's so weird. Like the details on this. So there is a town in Ohio. The dog is trying to make a nest on the bed. You're not even supposed to be up there. You recently had fleas. It's like, I'm not freaking. She's okay. I'm not going to be distracted. She is pulling the blankets and creating like a nest, and there she goes. Okay, now she's in the nest. So in Ohio, there's a mayor and a police chief who aren't getting along. And all right. So the mayor seems to have, I think this is nonsense. I think this sounds like bullshit. But whatever, we'll go for it. Knock you off your feet is the quote. Knock you off your feet. Ohio police chief is fired for refusing to take a drug test after the mayor smells marijuana in his office. Okay, so here's the story. Mayor in Ohio, what town is this? I'll get you the town. A police chief in Ohio has lost his job for refusing to take a drug test after the mayor claimed that she smelled marijuana emanating from his office. According to WXIX, the mayor said the odor was so strong that it would knock you off your feet. So the mayor shows up at the police chief's office. She opens the door and she goes, smells like weed in here. You got to resign. Now, they had a long history of not getting along. That's, first of all, to me, that's so bullshit. You can do that with anything. We've seen cops do that. Do you watch police body cam video? Cops Cops, that's all a cop needs to do is walk up to your car after he's pulled you over and say the magic words, smells like weed in here. Doesn't even have to actually smell like weed. He can just say, smells like weed. If you look like a stoner, smells like weed in here, and that is probable cause. Out of the car, I'm searching, doesn't smell like weed. So that's what I think this mayor did. I think the mayor walked in and went, smells like weed in here. Now, he says, you know what? It's very possible that my office smells like weed because there's an evidence locker right there and there's 13 pounds of marijuana in there. I would ask the mayor, I would say this because there are two weed smells. One weed smell absolves this guy. The other weed smell is we have to further investigate. But the two weed smells are, one, smoked weed. You walk into a teenager's room and you're like, you've been smoking weed in here. That smells like burnt marijuana. You've been smoking weed. But then just weed that is just in a bag, fresh weed, smells just as pungent, but it's a different smell. So what kind of smell did the mayor smell? Is the mayor like accusing him of doing a one-hitter under the desk, which would probably be cause for him to step down? Or was she smelling 13 pounds of weed in a cabinet right in the chief's office? That was evidence from a seizure. I don't know. After the issue was brought up, so she demanded that he take a drug test, right? And he's like, all right. And he went to go take the drug test. And he started talking to the person who was administering the drug test, because this is a small town. They all know each other. And he started talking to the person who was administering the drug test. And somehow, before he ended up taking the drug test, the chief goes, fuck this. This is bullshit. I'm saying no. So the chief said no. He got fired. And that's where we are. After the issue was brought up, the New Miami Village Council unanimously voted to relieve Chief Harold Webb of his duties. However, the spat that led to Webb's termination, he's the chief, the spat that led to Daily Web blog. In a letter, the mayor wrote that the first thing that came out of my mouth when I walked into his office was, who has been smoking weed in here? Okay, smoking. That's what she said. So she was identifying burnt weed. Okay. Does she know? Did she just smell regular? Like, does she know there's a difference between the two smells of weed? There is. There's two, and they smell very different. The following day, it doesn't matter. Anyway, he's no longer police chief, and now he's suing. And he's like, look, I'm gonna take down this entire city for like $2 million, you crazy bitch. He says it was weed that was in a storage locker, and she says it smelled like he was smoking it. So we will see. Here's a fun story. If you love your dog, I love my dog. My dog is now sound asleep. A couple of seconds ago, she was like trying to make the nest. She made the nest. She's in the nest, sound asleep. If you love your dog, here's a story for you. You might want to watch. It comes with a video. A dog burnt a house down. Oh, this is the scariest damn thing. This is the scariest damn thing. This comes out of Colorado Springs, and there's home video of it. Apparently there was a camera or something in the kitchen. Middle of the night, Colorado Springs. Family's sound asleep. The dog jumps up on the stove. Like somehow the dog gets up on the stove, lights the stove, and then just walks away. And then all of a sudden the stove, there's a bag on the stove. I'm going to show it to you. Dogs. We love them, but man, oh man. What do you got to do now? How you stop this from happening? You got to move like something in front of the stove so the dog can't get up there when you're asleep or when you're out of the house? Is this the AP? They're going to make us watch. Oh, they sure are. Hold on. All right, look at us.
Look at my eyeballs.
I'm going to watch a video.
I've been binging for like 3 straight days.
All right, here you go. Here's the dog. Look, you see him? All right, here he goes. All right, see the little doggy there? Look at that. The little doggy. He's got his paws up. This dog looks like CeeLo. Got a little paws up there. Fucking around with the stove. Let's see how this works out. Oh, no. Look, it's on. Oh, there it goes. Don't leave. Here you go. Pro tip, parents, don't leave anything on the stove. Look, they got like bags. Those are like bags on the stove. There it goes. All right. How long is that going to... Oh, well, there you go. Turned into that. That's how you wake up. Who left the stove on? Husband yelling at the wife yelling at the husband. Turns out the whole time it's the dog. It's this little guy. Nobody got hurt. Everybody's fine. House burned to the ground. But, there he goes. We love dogs, even when they burn our homes down. There you go. Let's see, what do we have here? We talked about this a little bit with James last night. There's a new story out. What's the number? Hold on. I just want to get the number. I don't have to read the whole story. The question is college worth it? They asked that question to people. Is college worth it? Do we still raise our children with the not only expectation that they go to college, but, basically no choice in the matter. They have to go to college. That's kind of how it was when I was growing up. But unfortunately, because of the profit center that we've turned education into in this country, college is not for everybody. It's too expensive. Banks making way too much money on college loans and all of that shit. Kid goes to school with a 4 years philosophy degree, gets out, has $30,000 in debt and works at Jamba Juice. Well, that was their fault for getting that degree. Okay, maybe so, but can you try and be cool? Can we maybe as a country try and be cool and not fucking profit off everybody at every single turn? Can we think of maybe the greater good? You know why colleges and university in other countries aren't anywhere near as expensive as it is here in America? Because those other countries recognize that it's important to them to have smart, educated people. Nah, not here. Not here. We want a bunch of ditch diggers here. So we make college very difficult. That was the attitude years ago. The attitude has changed. This story says so. Most people don't believe college is important anymore. And I have to tell you, I am one of them. I don't think college is important. I really don't. I think we were programmed to think that it was. After high school, you go to college. No, after high school, if you know what you want to do with your life, you should probably get started right there. I have a lot of successful friends, and I was thinking about this story last night. I have a lot of successful friends. I am not one of them, but I have a number of very successful friends. And I was thinking, who are my 5 most successful friends? So of my 5 most successful friends, only one went to college. Only one. I have a friend who's a borderline billionaire, and he dropped out of high school. So don't tell. And by the way, did it on their own. None of these guys were like, I got daddy's money. No. If you know what you want to do, and you know how to make money, or you figured out how to make money, you do not need college. College is 4 years of just wasting your time before you jump in. Now, if you want to be a doctor, of course. You want to be a lawyer? Of course. Certain things that if you want to be, you have to have a college education because you just can't learn that shit. Can't just pick up that shit as you do. But, you want to be a businessman? All these people that go, I'm going to college for finance so I can learn business. Fuck you. Start a business. Start selling lemonade in front of your house, dude. You don't need to go to college for that. You'll figure out what margins are and what cost is. You'll figure all of that out. And once you do, sky's the limit, baby. Saying all that, my son will go to college, hopefully. I still want my kid to go to college. I also don't like what's happening with colleges. I don't know if I don't like what's happening with colleges or if I just don't like this generation of young people. And I have to tell you, I was never this guy. I ardently, I don't know if you remember this, 15 years ago, the world hated millennials. The world hated millennials. Millennials were the worst. They were the worst generation. 2003, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's all you heard. These damn millennials. I was never like that. I was always like, nah, millennials are actually kind of cool. I always feel as a Gen Xer, I always feel like millennials are just very close to us. Although there's a lot more of them, but they're very close to us. But this Gen Z, I'm going to come right out. I'm going to tell you, Gen Z is a problem. Colleges suck now. Colleges are insane. Colleges are supposed to be places where you go and you get your fucking feelings hurt. Colleges are supposed to be places where things that you are opposed to, I don't know, if you are on the left, maybe fascism and all that kind of stuff. College is supposed to be the place you go to learn about that shit, to confront it in a real world situation, and not just go, these people can't be on my campus because it hurts my ears when they say mean things. Fuck you. College is about preparing you for the rough real world. Colleges are now like, they're bad. They're creating bad people. They're creating people who are fascists in their own right with their censorship of other people's speech. Somebody like, okay, a guy like that Charlie Kirk clown, right? Let's talk about that guy. You should welcome that dude coming to your college campus. You should put him up there and you should let him speak, and then you should go see it, and then you should challenge him in a. But no, instead, we want the president of the school fired because someone in the student speakers club booked this guy. So let's fire the president. Fuck you. Yeah, people are so irrational now. And Gen Zs, I got a real problem with them. Oh. Look, one of my favorite, oh God. I love me the TikTok. You know why I love TikTok? There is this woman on TikTok who is so funny. And I don't know if it's real. I don't think it's real. It can't possibly be real, but it might be real. It looks real. I don't know. The premise is, here, let me, you know what? Why not? I'll just show it to you. All right, maybe I can find it. I know. Now we're chasing rabbits. Now we're going into my TikTok. Hold on. I got to show you this woman. Hold on. No. She'll come up real quick. Just give me 1 second. Oh, great. So now I'm not going to be able to find one example. Oh, I see what's wrong. Sorry. I'm not logged into my TikTok. How do I log into my TikTok? Oh, for crying out loud. All right, never mind. We'll do this later. I apologize. That was terrible. Anyway, my point is this. There's this woman on TikTok named Jamie Lynch. Jamie Lynch. Lynch. And she does these TikTok videos where she's at work. She's sitting at work and she answers phones, and there's a camera trained on her. So you see her at her desk at work, just on the phone with. Now her job appears to be as somebody who books models for a modeling agency. So her job is to answer the phone and talk to all of these models who are booked on these photo shoots. Her job is to talk to them and make sure they get there on time and all that kind of stuff. And she's millennial. And the whole thing of this TikTok series that she does is called I'm a Millennial Who Doesn't Speak Gen Z. And they are hysterical. This woman, this woman is just, she's so understanding, and she's so, and these Gen Zers, these Gen Z models, boys and girls, they have just the absolute worst takes. They're rude. They say mean things, you know, but they think they're allowed to do it because what? You're challenging me. I need to be able to speak my truth. You know, that whole thing. It's insane. Check her out. Jamie Lynch. She's very funny. Like I said, I don't even know if it's real or not. Hold on, wait a second. Now I want to show it to you. Now I really want to show it to you. All right, here, we'll do it this way. This is how we'll do it. Watch this. Bear with me. Folks, we're not doing anything. We got time. We got time, right? Where are you going? I owe you a show from yesterday, so we're in no real hurry. Although I do have to do something, but that's not until 5. So we're good. We're fine. We're fine. All right. Good. Hold up. Am I signed in here? Yeah. Hold on. You just give me a moment. I want to see if this works. Probably won't. laugh for crying out loud. It didn't work. How do I do this? All right, hold on. Hold on. All right, see if this works. All right, never mind. Doesn't work. Maybe I can do it this way. Yeah. I couldn't connect to my TikTok. That sucks. Where is Jamie Lynch? There's a whole bunch of Jamie Lynches. What the? Nope, not her. Hold on. Sorry for the delay in today's show. This is no fun. And now, see, now I'm not giving up. Now I'm just gonna, I'm this far into this. So now I'm not gonna give up. Even if it's totally not worth it, and it cannot possibly be worth it after all of this. But it is an example of how much I hate Gen Z in their whole attitude and their whole worldview and the way they talk to people and the way they feel emboldened to speak with people. TikTok wants to show me notable. Nah, don't fucking show me any notable. All right, let me see. Hold on. Huh. I don't know how to sign into my TikTok. That's the problem. See, because the show page, the show browser that I use doesn't have my TikTok on it. I don't know how to turn in. Okay, I'm losing my shit. I can't stop. I gotta finish this now. I've got to actually. Found her. All right, very good. All right, we did it. Oh, that was awful, and it took forever. All right, so when I talk about how much I hate, I shouldn't say hate, but they just, have very little tolerance for the Gen Z attitude. This is the woman on TikTok who does this so well. Again, the premise is she seems to work as some kind of a booker for a modeling agency. So it's her job to answer the phone when the models call in with crazy gripes. If you want to follow her, it's simply Jamie Lynch. That's it. Simply Jamie Lynch. Let's watch a couple of these.
Jamie, I got your email with the pay. Jamie, I got your email with the 5K. Is it a joke?
Nope, not a joke. It's not mandatory. It's just a suggestion. It's for charity. We raise money.
Why?
It's an initiative. It's for the local homeless shelter.
Why wouldn't people just give money? Why the hell do I need to personally run 5 kilometers for them to care about poor people? That literally makes no sense.
Hi, I was calling about your availability next week. I got the picture that you sent.
Yeah, I sent it yesterday. It's for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, it is. It's a picture of a handwritten calendar with everybody's schedule on it from your other job. It's pretty hard to read.
Yeah, my manager has bad handwriting.
Okay, can you just tell me when you work?
Can you not just look at the calendar? I have no clue how it happened. I was driving and my tire just popped. I don't think I can come to work this week.
I'm really sorry that happened. The whole week though, for a flat tire? Are you gonna change it?
I have no idea how. My dad's away this week, so I can't. I'm just gonna leave it on the side of the road for now.
I don't think you can do that. Might be a spare tire right in your car. There's videos on this.
Do I look like a mechanic? No, I can't. I'm gonna wait till next week. Yo, Jamie,
Okay. All right, let's try another one.
Literally glowing, Jamie. Like, so bright. I'm kind of worried.
Well, you said you took some multivitamins? Probably just like extra vitamins and stuff coming out in your urine. That's what makes it really bright.
No, it's like bright. I'll send you a pic. Hold on.
No, please don't do that. Oh, you did. Oh my girl, that is radioactive.
Hey, what's the address for my next shoot?
Ooh, I can tell you that. I thought you were calling about the new dress code policy.
I saw it. It looks fine. I don't wear anything crazy. I don't know what a POLO shirt is.
It's a polo shirt. Very professional.
All right, well, you get the idea.
It's got like
These kids that she deals with are just, unbelievable. One of them is her niece, Reverie, who is there's a lot of stuff with Reverie. And Reverie sounds like a 19-year-old young model. And Jamie is her aunt, and Jamie books her, Reverie, on things. And Reverie speaks to her in a way that is just so... It does. Adam's like, this seems too fake. It's only purporting your opinion as well. Fuck you, Adam. You should just have fun. I hate this with people. She's terrific. That Jamie Lynch is terrific, and they are very funny. Adam just fucking... Does anybody like Adam showing up at the party? Is Adam the guy who shows up at the party and goes, the beer is warm, the air conditioning is too hot? Dave's fake. I even said, I don't even know that it's real. I hope it's real, but it's probably not. I said that. I got to get Adam in there ruining everybody's fun. All right, let's get back into the show. Let's see where we were. Shall we? Barney, you're just an insensitive a-hole. Oh, God. Now we got people we can't. Guys, it's pledge week. I can't have fighting in the chat room. I can't have you guys fighting each other in the chat room during pledge week. Holy crap. All right, let's keep going. What else do we have here? College is not worth it. There you go. That's what I say. College is not worth it. I said this last night. I'll give you an example. I want my kid to go to college, but he's 15 years old, and I have for a couple of years now been saying to him, you better get serious about what you want to do. You better get serious. Right now is the time for you to go, oh, I think I'd like to maybe kind of do that. Or maybe I'd like to learn a little bit more about that. Like, I don't want him going through 4 years of high school with no clue of what it is that he wants to do when he grows up. And that is unfortunately a situation that a great many of us find ourselves in. Hell, there are people who graduate from college with a degree in something and they still don't know what they want to do. They just followed the programming and checked the boxes, and here you are. Now they've got a diploma and they're working at Jamba Juice. So I've been pushing my kid about, I really want you to start thinking about what you want to do with your life, what you want to do with your life. Because, he wants to be a professional football player, but he's also not an idiot. So he knows that is probably not going to pan out. But he's 15 and he still wants that. So I'm like, all right, let's do a backup. And, for a while he was saying things like, I want to be a lawyer, which quite frankly, I think he'd be really good at. A trial lawyer. I think he'd be really good, because he's very performative. So I think that's good. Never doctor. Like, he doesn't want to do that or anything like that. No pilot, nothing like that. So I thought it was lawyer. So we're driving around, and he says to me, God, should I even be saying this? I don't know if I should even be saying. I said it last night. Anyway, he expressed an interest in being an actor. And I was thrilled. I know I may have played it off yesterday with James, like, no, but I was thrilled. If my 15-year-old has something at 15 that he really wants to do, and that it's because there is nothing worse than having an unfulfilled life. There is nothing worse than doing a job, waking up at 7 a.m. every morning, doing a gig you absolutely hate. But, hey, you got a wife and a kid and you feel trapped. And that's how you get the Fox News audience. You get the Fox News audience because you get a whole bunch of 45-year-old men who are angry that they made poor choices with their life. I don't want to be a plumber. I've been a plumber for 30 years. I wanted to sing. And you never tried it. So that's, the kind of shit that ruins people's lives. Now, me, on the other hand, I have absolutely nothing, but I'm completely professionally fulfilled. So, it's a trade-off. He said he wants to be an actor. I'm like, we get maybe go out for a play. I mean, you've never where does this come from? You have never. I mean, he's very tuned into performances. Like he's a kid. He's a 15-year-old kid who will watch a movie and he'll turn to you and he'll go, "Oh my God, she is killing it in this role." He notices these things. So that's good. So I don't know. He wants to be an actor. At this point, I'm like, go for it, man. But here's what you got to do. You got to get in the drama club right now. I know you're a big strapping meatball football captain of the football team, offensive lineman, dude. But you got to go on down to the weird ass drama part of the school, and you got to start hanging out with those people. And who knows, you might find some of the best friends in your life there. But it's going to be weird because it's going to be different because now you're crossing over. You're crossing over different social streams in your high school, which is good. He seems to be willing to do that, but we'll see. And then I told him, I go, dude, by the way, also in high school, just so you know, girls in the theater department are way more adventurous than regular girls. Yeah, I told him that. That's the kind of dad I am. Well, look, not for nothing, but a lot of the girls in the theater department are the girls in the theater. Did you have this in your high school? This was kind of it in my high school. Girls in the theater department, they were pretty. They were like, man, she's pretty. Like these actresses, my God, that girl is so pretty, but not normal, weird, like pretty, weird, pretty. Like, man, why isn't she like the homecoming queen? Because she's weird, because she's an actress, but she's so hot, but she's weird. Anyway, that's how it was with my high school. There was a bunch of girls in the drama department that were just smoking. You're like, God, they're hot. And yet they didn't date the football players and they weren't popular and they weren't, by teen social standards, they were sort of this own thing. I don't know. So I don't know. Is college worth it? Who knows? Adam says my 9-year-old has $35,000 in her college fund and is whip smart. So I'm hoping that she gets some scholarships too. So I hope she goes to college and gets a chance to take time to find herself. Let's talk about, here's a good story. Here we go. You know what so Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet, do people know, do people know who Jason Momoa is? Do they also know who Lisa Bonet is? It doesn't seem like my 15-year-old kid knows who Jason Momoa is, loves Jason Momoa, has no idea who Lisa Bonet is. He's like, who? Lisa Bonet? He wouldn't know. He knows who Zoe Kravitz is. He knows Jason Momoa and Zoe Kravitz. Zoe Kravitz is, of course, the daughter of Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz. But anyway, he doesn't know Lisa Bonet. They were married. Is that what it was? Yeah, I guess they were married because their divorce has been finalized. Jason Momoa and Lisa Bonet. All right, wait a second. How does this go? How did this go? So Lisa Bonet from The Cosby Show. She was Bill Cosby's daughter. Vanessa? Was she Vanessa? No, I don't know who she was. Who was she? Who was Lisa Bonet on the Cosby? What was her name? She was hot. Lisa Bonet was on The Cosby Show. She became kind of a big star in the 1990s. And then, her star completely faded by 2000. And we haven't seen her in anything except that she was with Lenny Kravitz. So Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz, you look at those two and you're like, yeah, that seems right. They just look like they should be together, right? Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz. Almost like sexy homeless, right? That's kind of like the vibe that you get with Lenny Kravitz, sexy homeless. Lisa Bonet too. Lisa Bonet walks around she dresses like a homeless person. Her hair is all fucked up, and she wears these flowing things that looks like she found at the thrift store. But then you're like, hey, she's hot. You're like, man, she's a hot homeless. That's what Lenny Kravitz and Lisa Bonet are like together, and they teamed up and they created Zoe Kravitz. That didn't work out. Lisa and Lenny got divorced. Lisa then goes and gets Jason Momoa, who is exactly the same kind of sexy homeless as Lenny Kravitz. Jason Momoa looks like, he could have slept under a bridge last night. And yet still, could walk into any club and go home with the hottest waitress if you wanted to. That's sexy homeless. So that seems to be the whole vibe with the whole Lisa Bonet thing. But Lisa Bonet and Jason Momoa, they're officially divorced, and so there you have it. Although they're also friends. Like that was always a weird thing. We've seen this with Hollywood people before. And here's the dynamic that you and I, the peasants, do not share with the Hollywood couples when we see this. What I'm talking about is the situation where Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz were married and they had a kid. Lisa Bonet and Lenny Kravitz got divorced. Lisa Bonet goes with Jason Momoa. And then for like the next couple of years, all you see are these crazy pictures of all of these people hanging out together. Jason Momoa and Lenny Kravitz are like best buddies now because they share, Anyway, we also saw this with Demi Moore and Ashton Kutcher and Bruce Willis. So all of a sudden they're all friends. That doesn't happen in the real world. That does not. I'm sorry. Regular people like us, no, we're not just suddenly going to become best friends with our ex-wife's new husband. It's just doesn't happen in the real world. You know why it happens in Hollywood? Because they're hot. Hot people can pull this off. Hot people. The reason we regular people don't want to be friends with, the new whatever of whatever is because we're still jealous and we're like, oh, gee, she's with him now and blah. But if you were hot, you'd be like, I don't care who she's with because, I've got like 10 chicks I can choose from tonight. That's the difference between being hot and being normal. Being a hot Hollywood celebrity, they don't care. I think Bruce Willis was like, oh, I'm so jealous that Demi's now with Ashton. No. You think Lenny Kravitz was like, oh, she's with... No, Lenny Kravitz, his dance card is full. He doesn't need to worry about who his ex-wife, who he was probably done sexing up anyway. You get to that point. I'm sorry. That's one of the best quotes of all time. Show me the most beautiful woman in the world, and I will show you a man who doesn't want to have sex with her anymore. That is truth. So these guys, do you ever have a friend who broke up with a really hot girl and you're like, why did you guys break up? And he's like, stop being fun. I'm like, wait, being naked with her stopped being fun? Yeah, it stopped being fun. What do you want to do? Got to change it up. Jason Momoa is a free man completely. He's officially divorced today. Can I ask a question? Can we talk a little bit about Jason Momoa? Because I love him. I really do. I think he's so cool. Do you know Jason Momoa went swimming with funny story. So my friend E, the E Gallery studio and all that. E and his family went to Hawaii for a trip a couple weeks ago. And here, I'll show you. Ugh. Huh. All right. Maybe I'm not going to be able to find it so easily. Oh, there it is. Okay, we got it. What the fuck? So maybe I can't find it. No, I got. Yep. All right. Well, screw that. Don't have it. This is a nothing story. And now here I am again, wasting all kinds of precious time. Like I said, we don't have anywhere to go. We're good. Oh, here you go. Okay. Yeah, this is awesome. All right. So E and his family, they arrive in Hawaii and they're jet lagged. It's because it's time difference and all that kind of stuff. And it's 5:00 in the morning and they're like wide awake because they're all like jet lagged. It was their first day there. So they're all jet lagged. So they go down to the beach. They're like, wow, what a great opportunity. Let's go down to the beach at 5:00 in the morning and let's watch the sunrise here on our very first day here in Hawaii. So they go down to the beach. Hold on. That's Jason Momoa. That's Jason Momoa and BJ Penn. If you're any UFC fighter guys, maybe you know who Jason Momoa or BJ Penn is. That is Jason Momoa on the right, and that's BJ Penn on the left. E and his family are just sitting on the beach, and there's nobody there because it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and they turn around and they look and they see these two people coming, and these two people walk right past them, and E looks up, and Wendy's like, oh my God, that's Jason Momoa. And they walk by, the only people on the beach, 5 o'clock in the morning. Jason Momoa's like, good morning. They're like, good morning. And they watched Aquaman walk into the ocean on their first day in Hawaii. That's rich people stuff. That is rich people stuff. First day. Did you pay extra? Is that something? Was that a part of your tourism package? Can you pay extra to have your first morning? You get to watch Aquaman walk into the surf. How cool is that? What's going on here on the news? I love Jason Momoa. I have said many times, I am Momoa sexual. I'm not gay, but I can see it. Like I see that guy and I get it. I get why. You know what the other thing about Jason Momoa is? Jason Momoa, he's got the island man. Oh, he's all very like big island man. He's very like, Hawaiian. That was not Hawaiian. That was like Jamaican. What was I doing, Jamaican? What's a Hawaiian accent? There is a Hawaiian accent. I can't do it, but there is a Hawaiian accent. So that's what we think. We think that he's like this Samoan, He's from Iowa. Jason Momoa grew up in Iowa, Norwalk, Iowa. This is the craziest. I'm obsessed with these kinds of, what do we call them? Coincidences, happenstance. I don't know. I don't know how to describe these. Jason Momoa grew up in Norwalk, Iowa, a town of about 10,000 people outside of Des Moines, tiny little town, Norwalk, Iowa. Attended Norwalk High School. Jason Momoa, he didn't go to school in Maui, or anything like Norwalk, Iowa. Jason Momoa, Aquaman, the future Aquaman. You know who one of his buddies was in high school? Brandon Ruth, the future Superman. How crazy is that? There was a small town, rural Iowa high school in the mid 1990s that had playing on their soccer team. They played on a soccer team together. That had playing on their soccer team the future Aquaman and the future Superman. And they were friends. They were friends at like 15. Hey, you're going to grow up to be Aquaman? I mean, there was none of that. They were just a couple of hicks in the middle of Iowa. It's crazy. I love that story. Here, check this out. This is not even here. And they're still buddies. Brandon Ruth. And why wouldn't they be buddies? Here. Look at these pictures. Look at these two sons of... Oh, no way. I screwed it up. Sorry. That's what happens when I use Google Images. Don't use Google Images. If you're doing Little Leaguers, if you're out there doing a stream, don't use Google Images. Don't. Google Images suck for this. They give you bad pictures. There you go. Look at that. How cool is it? Well, actually, you can't see it yet. These two dudes played high school soccer together, went to high school parties together, hung out together, were buddies. Look at them. That's Jason Momoa, Aquaman, and Brandon Ruth, Superman from Iowa. From freaking Iowa, middle of nowhere, Iowa. I love that. That's such a cool story. All right, let's see. There's more of them. Yeah, there you go. Look at that. Did you know Jason Momoa and Brandon Ruth went to high school together in Iowa? At one point, the soccer team had both. There you look at that. I just said that. That is crazy. What is in the water in Norwalk? There they are again, screwing around. There's that. There's that. Okay. Oh, is that Jason Momoa in high school? Look at that, dude. Look, with all due respect, that dude was probably slaying. I don't know what the chick situation there is in a town of 10,000 people in the middle of, but I can promise you that. Do you think Jason Momoa and Brandon Ruth, because they're both super attractive guys, were they like crossing streams? Were they like slaying the same? There they are. There they are, just hanging out as movie stars, Superman and Aquaman. That is so cool. I love that. I absolutely love that. All right. And I love Jason Momoa. I am Momoa sexual. How about a grandma? Here's a story about a cool ass grandma who's dying. She's what is it? She's dying of cancer. Let me give you this full story because this is a feel good story. I love this. A great grandmother from Pennsylvania who recently completed radiation treatments for terminal breast cancer. Wow, that's weird. Completed radiation for terminal. If it was terminal, why would she go through that's bad journalism. Okay, whatever. So this grandma, she's probably scared shitless, man. Coming to the end of life. Maybe she's okay with it. I hope that she is. But that's a big thing going on. You think about your life. You think about your family. She's got 5 grandkids. Stops in at the convenience store. Gets a scratch off. $5 million. $5 million. Oh, grandma. Good news, bad news. You're dying. But would you pick me up a pack of smokes and maybe get yourself a lottery ticket? Is $5 million. Donna Osborne scored the prize last month when she bought a $50 Monopoly Own It All ticket while buying gas at a convenience store in Lancaster County. Well, see, now that maybe is something that $50 for a lottery ticket? $50 I eat for a week. Are you kidding me? $50. $50 I go to the grocery store and I buy food for a week. You don't spend $50 on a single lottery ticket unless you have terminal breast cancer. Maybe that's what she was like. She's like, hey, why not? And guess what? It paid off. $5 million. God love you, grandma. Man, there's some. Who won? Who won? Her grandkids. Her grandkids are who won. Not her, because she's probably not going to be able to spend all of that money. Good for her. Here's a story that we should talk about here. And honestly, it's not a big story. It's not anything that I'm surprised by. As a matter of fact, it's just what I assumed. A couple of months back, we talked about the passing of adult film star Jessie Jane, who was a very close friend of my old show, the Pugs and Kelly Show. Hung out with Jessie a lot. Jessie spent the night at my house. Not in that way. Don't kid yourself. But I was reminded of that after she died, that Jessie crashed out on our couch after a party with a bunch of other people too. But I do remember that because my roommate at the time goes, yeah, I'll never forget. I woke up, I came down in the morning to get something to drink, and I look, and there's Jessie Jane on the couch. And I'm like, yeah, it's kind of weird. And there's a porn star that I really like, sound asleep on my couch. She wasn't naked or anything like that. So that's the thing. I think regular normal people who don't, and I as well probably thought this as well. Porn stars are not like porn stars all the time. Okay, they're just not. They're 90% of the time that you're around a porn star where they're not getting paid to have sex on camera, they're normal people. And a lot of times you wouldn't even notice that they were porn stars. They don't carry themselves in a certain way. They're just like normal people. They look like strippers. I mean, but I think strippers are normal people. I think porn stars are normal people. Jessie was a wonderful girl. Jessie was really nice. Jessie was a really sweet girl, and she went through a lot of shit in her life, and, the cards didn't play out well for her, and she ended up going into porn. But to her credit, she became one of the biggest porn stars of the past 20 years. She was big. She was smart. She made a lot of money. I know she made a lot of money because I remember her having money. She had business interests. They were all being run by other people. I don't know that she was, coming up with all these things like her vodkas. And I remember she owned a strip club. She owned the strip club that she started stripping when she was 17 years old. Yeah, she was an underage stripper in Oklahoma. She started stripping. She ended up buying the strip club, which was something that I remember she's very proud of. She was like, yeah, I showed them. I fired all the assholes too. I'm like, okay, cool. She had dependency issues. She was an alcoholic, all of these things. Like I said, Jessie had a rough life, but when she wasn't in the thralls of all of that stuff, she was actually a genuinely kind and decent, sweet person. She was really a sweet girl. She died a couple of months ago, found in her home, in her bed is that a picture of her? I don't want to show any pictures of her. Found dead in her home. I guess her boyfriend found her. Or was her boyfriend dead too? I don't remember. Were they both dead? So I knew what it was. I mean, that wasn't a surprise. I wasn't expecting there to come back a report that, she was murdered by a home invasion. I wasn't expecting that. She had in recent years spiraled. She was always on TMZ. She was always on TMZ for being drunk on the Las Vegas Strip, or adult film star Jessie J makes a scene on Sunset. She's fallen. She's not doing good as she aged. Rough 10 years, last 10 years of her life, I would say. And I didn't know her in those 10 years. I haven't seen Jessie in 15 years, right? A cause of death has been revealed for adult film star Jessie Jane. Jane died of an accidental fentanyl and cocaine overdose. This, according to the Oklahoman, which cited the autopsy report released by the medical examiner. Jane was found dead by police with her boyfriend at their Oklahoma home on January 24th. She was 43 years old. Yeah. I think that's it. Now that I do remember it, that's why I'm not shocked by learning that it was fentanyl, because I remember at the time her boyfriend was dead too. And my immediate thought was, they both did bad coke. That makes sense. They did bad coke. I tell Jesus Christ, God damn. Tell my kid all the time. No sniffing, no shooting, no popping. Look, you come home after a backyard keg party, and you got beer on your breath, get your ass in bed, wake up, and I hope the hangover sucks. That's it. But you're not going to be in crazy trouble because you're a teenager. And you know what? I know what teenagers do. So do it properly and we'll all survive. I don't care, son. You come home, smell like weed. I don't care. I actually prefer that. I would rather my kid come home from a night smelling like a little bit of weed than reeking of like whiskey, because that's one thing to me. I've done it all. I've been through it all. I've done it all. Whiskey, and maybe this isn't for everybody else, whiskey, tequila, vodka, whatever it is. Maybe this is just me, but my son does share my genetics. So for me, those things make me aggressive, and those things make me make really poor choices. And when I was a teenager, I made a whole bunch of poor choices because of whiskey, because of really hard weed. I wish I had done weed in high school. Seriously, I never smoked weed in high school. It was until college that I ever tried it. Because when I was in high school, it was something the stoners did. I was preppy, and that kind of thing. I don't know if I was even preppy. Well, I don't know what I was, but I wasn't a stoner. The stoners did that stuff. I wish I was. Those stoners in high school had the right idea. Those stoners never got into trouble. Those stoners sat when you'd be at the outdoor party. Those stoners were the ones sitting around the picnic table talking and laughing. And we're doing keg stands and we're trying to fight the guys from the other school who showed up. So who's the asshole? The stoners or us? So I tell my kid that all the time. I say, look, dude, no sniffing, no popping, no poking. Sniffing, snorting, poking, popping, none of that stuff. You don't take pills. You don't somebody hands you a pill. You're like, dude, take it. You take that pill and you throw it. Because I'm telling you, man, you could die. And it ain't like it used to be where if you take a puff off the marijuana cigarette, you're going to think you can fly. That was bullshit. We were lied to. Those people were fools. Today, you take a pill that you don't know. Who knows what's in that pill? There's a problem out there with people fucking spiking drugs with fentanyl and other kinds of things. So no pills. Kiddo, don't take pills. You don't shoot anything. You don't put nothing with the needle. Are you fucking nut? And he don't like needles. So he's like, yeah, that's not going to be a problem, Dad. But then snorting. Snorting is the one that I'm most concerned about. Because we know Plano. We know about Plano's history with heroin and cocaine and teenagers. I mean, sure, that history goes back, 30, 25 years now, but still. Snorting is going to be available. Snorting is easy. Here, dude, take a sniff of it. And I tell him, man, I go, look, you can't do that anymore. You just can't. It's not like it was in 1999 or 2002 or, God forbid, you're that old, 1978. You sniffed that stuff and it was cocaine. Maybe you'd have a heart attack because it was such pure good cocaine, but that's not how cocaine is anymore. Cocaine is spike. People are dying. Do you remember last year? There was like a whole bunch. It was like 15 Los Angeles Comedy Store comedians. They were all, none of them were big names. Actually, one of them was kind of a big name. One of them was on a TV show. But they were all a bunch of comedians, and they were hanging out at someone's apartment, and they were partying, and someone brought fentanyl-laced Coke, and they all died. Yeah, like 4 of them died. One of them's like a vegetable. These were all, you just can't do cocaine anymore. You just can't. Unless somebody comes up with some kind of a test, that'll just, you can't do it. You should, now, let's be honest. You should never have done it. Although, if I'm being honest, it is the best of the drugs. That's right. Cocaine's the best of the drugs. Cocaine. I only did cocaine like 3 or 4 times. But I can tell you, that was enough for me to go, I can't ever do this again because this is the best of us. This is the one that I could totally do all time because the feeling is like, and it's still, you can still do stuff. You're irritating as fuck. You ever had to deal with somebody who was on cocaine? They get shit done. But they're irritating as fuck. They're very short. Everything's sped up. Everything's like, come on, let's go, man. What's going on? Why don't you have those work for me yet? Why? Come on, I asked you an hour ago. You can't do it anymore. Cocaine, you just can't. You can't trust it. I scare the fuck out of my kid with cocaine. And I should. Anything you sniff could kill you instantly. Your brain will explode. Come on, Dad. You're just being, no. All right, your brain won't explode. But like 45 minutes later, your heart will. And that's what'll happen. So getting back to Jessie Jane, adult film star, her and her boyfriend were found dead in their bed. I'm guessing they shared a bed. And I knew. I think we all knew. Seemed like fentanyl poisoning, and now we have confirmation. Fentanyl poisoning. Jessie Jane. It was sad. I told you I just ran through the whole series of Entourage over the past couple of months. I started watching it, and Jessie Jane, of course, had a pretty significant story arc in Entourage. Well, actually, she was only in 2 episodes, but still, it was in those episodes, it was important. Her role was important. Playing herself, playing Jessie Jane, because on Entourage, that's how they did it. Anyway, very sad. We got another one we can do here. How about this? Here's a list. You want to shit on some countries? You want to shit on some, I believe they're called shithole countries? I can say that because I'm not president and I'm not running for president, but there are definitely shithole countries out there. The most affordable countries list for expats. You know what expats are? You're an American and you're like, I'm leaving this country because of Biden or whatever. You go move to another country, you're considered an expat, an expatriate. You're no longer a patriot of the country, you've been expatriated. So if you're interested in that and you're interested in living in a different country, you want to get out of America because you think America is cooked. Here is the list of countries that are most affordable for American expats. Are you ready? All right. This list, by the way, I ain't leaving. I ain't going anywhere. I'm going to die here. Not true. If I somehow get to a point where I can buy property in a home in Ireland, I'll die there. I'll go there. I just love the Irish countryside. It is just, oh my God. But short of that, I ain't going anywhere. None of you knuckleheads are going to elect anybody that's going to chase me out of my country. Are you kidding me? 4-year term? He'll be gone. So here are the countries that are most desirable to expats. All right, here's the I'm losing my fucking mind because now I can't find the list. Oh, there it is. How did I miss that list? How did I just scroll past that list? All right, so here we go. We'll go from number 10. Number 10, most affordable country for American expats. China. Fuck you. No way. Are you kidding me? China? I ain't moving to China. 1, the language. Not gonna happen. They fuck around and learn the wrong language. Aren't there 2 Chinese languages? Mandarin and Cantonese, right? So what if I learn the wrong one? And I'm like, shit, I should have learned the other one. Number 9, Brazil. Now, what do you mean when you say affordable in Brazil? Have you ever seen the favelas in Brazil? The favelas are the hillside ghettos where the people live. I don't want to live like that. That ain't for me. No, thank you. Brazil is number 9. Most affordable destination for expats. Number 8, ain't going here. You know my vibe on this place. Thailand. I ain't going to Thailand. Yes, I'm leaving America because there are too many pedophiles here. Where are you moving to? Thailand? No, I ain't going to Thailand. Thailand is number 8. I'm never going to Thailand. Hey, you want a free trip to Thailand? No. You know why? Because I don't want anybody ever going, well, he did go to Thailand. Number 7. I can do this one. This is the only one so far that I could do. Mexico. I could totally live in Mexico. It's close enough. And the language, like I can, like, you know, you can get by. Look, you'll learn Spanish really quick. It's easy. Spanish is an pretty easy language. Mexico, number 7 most affordable place to live. Number 6, India. Ew. India to me is gross. I'm sorry. I know it seems like it's gross. Like every time I see like, you know, things in like even Mumbai, like even when you're like, welcome to Mumbai, I'm like, do they just shit in the streets there in Mumbai? That place looks fucking awful. That place looks terrible. I mean, could you imagine what it smells like? I just think it's India is just gross. My Indian friend says I always tell him that. I go, you come from like the worst country. He's like, I know. That's why my parents got the hell out of there. I go, does it smell? He's like, yeah, smells real bad. And they also have monkeys. Don't they have monkey problems? Like, not only does it smell in India, and not only is it like smoggy, and they've got big industry, and they've got no like checks on industry. So it's all like terrible air. Everything's bad. And monkeys. They got monkeys running around everywhere. Now, I don't know if that's like in Mumbai. That might be, you know, further south or whatever. But whatever. When you got a monkey problem, I'm never going to live there. I'm not going to coexist with monkeys who are given free rein to just run in the streets like squirrels. I don't think so. Number 5. Number 6 was India. These are most affordable places for expats to live. Number 5. Philippines. Now I'm going to pass on that too. I don't know. Number 4 on the list of places. I could live here. Panama, Central America. I could do Central America because, again, Mexico seems kind of close. I could do Panama. Panama seems, although mosquitoes, I'm thinking probably. Number 3 on the list of most affordable places for expats to pick up and move to. Here's another one I'm not going to. I'm not going to this one for a very similar reason to why I'm not going to number 8 on this list, Thailand. Although I don't know that it's the same thing, but it seems like it might kind of be similar. Indonesia. I ain't going to Indonesia. Number 3. Thailand is the bad one. Thailand is the bad one because there's all kinds of people. We know what Thailand is known for. But Indonesia is also like, Number 2, Colombia. I think I could live in Colombia. What do they speak there? Spanish? What is the country where they don't speak Spanish? Is that Portuguese, right? So that's down there. That's Brazil. Okay. So they speak Spanish in Colombia? I'm hoping I could do that. I could get by with that. I could get by with Spanish. Colombia seems nice. Colombia seems okay. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, it's not like the cocaine 80s Colombia. It's like a different kind of thing now. Sofia Vergara is from there, right? They got more like her? I'll check it out. And the number 1 place, the most affordable place for expats to live, Vietnam. I'm just going to let that sit there. I can't even watch Good Morning Vietnam without just like, oh my God, that place. And I know that was the 1960s, so maybe they're more modern now. I don't know, but it seemed like it seemed like they probably had plumbing and sewage problems. But Pugs, they were in the middle of a war. Okay, I get that. They're in the middle of a war. But still, it doesn't seem like a lot of that was necessarily related to the current war situation. Seems like there was a lot of fucked up shit there before the war started. Anyway, there you have it. That's your list. The 10 most affordable places for expats: China, Brazil, Thailand, Mexico, India, the Philippines, Panama, Indonesia, Colombia, and Vietnam. Adam says Belize, they speak English officially anyway, but it's basically 50-50 from what I understand. Yeah, I know. I have a friend who moved to Belize. It's not affordable. This list is affordable. Belize may have been affordable 20 years ago, but a lot of people have moved to Belize since then, and it's apparently not as affordable as it once was. That's me, Mr. Popular. All right, folks, that's going to do it for today's show. We appreciate you hanging out with us. Again, no show tomorrow because I am thrilled to be hanging out with Mike Reiner and his podcast. So I'll be recording that tomorrow afternoon. We'll get to we'll get to all the behind the scenes details on Thursday's show. This is the Rant. We do it every Monday through Friday at noon-ish. Again, thank you to our executive producer today, the top tipper of the show. Will receive the executive producer title for the next day's show. And that was April. Thank you so much, April. It was a couple of days back. Haven't really had many tips, even though it is tip season. Thank you, April. April dropped a bomb and really saved 4th of July for us. So thank you so much. That was really not 4th of July because it came after that. But I mean, it helped. Trust me when I tell you. This show does run on your tips and your gratuities. If you like non-political, right down the middle, just loud, middle-aged man screaming about current events type content, we're here for you every single day. Can I remind you? Yeah, we do. We take your tips. Cash App, Venmo. There you go. Help us out. We didn't make it for the 3rd month in a row. This show is literally... There is no justification anymore at this point to keep doing it. At this point, when people come up to me and go, "You got to fucking stop doing that show," I'm like, yeah, we don't grow. We don't have, but you people, the hardcores, you've kept us in business. So please drop a little something if you can. It would be certainly appreciated. All right, that's it. We're done. I love you guys. I've been talking nonstop now for 2 hours and 45 minutes. I am tired and I am going to stop. Love you.